6 o'clock. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. NBA playoffs this weekend. 3 Game 7s and 2 teams complete the series comeback from down 3-1 on Saturday. The 76ers beat the Boston Celtics 109-100 behind Joel Embiid's 30 points and Tyrese Maxey's 30 points to complete the 3-1 comeback, beating the Celtics for the first time in the playoffs in 44 years. The 76ers now will play the Knicks in round 2 on Sunday. The Pistons rout the Magic 116-94, completing their 3-1 comeback. The Cavs beat the Raptors 114-109 in Game 7, who now will play the Pistons in round 2. NHL playoffs, the Canadians take down the Lightning in Game 7 last night, 2-1, and advance to play the Sabres in round 2. And round 2 kicked off in high-scoring fashion in the Western Conference playoff race as the Avalanche and Wild combined for 15 goals. Colorado won that one 9-6 and take the 1-0 lead. Nashville Soccer Club earned a point in a scoreless draw on Saturday night against the Philadelphia Union. Next up, Nashville will travel to Mexico Tuesday night in the second leg of the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinals against Tigres with an 8:30 p.m. first kick. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Bringing news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Monday morning, kicking off a brand new week on 104.5 The Zone. Good morning. It is a gorgeous day to hang out with you for the next 4 hours. 615-737-1045 and streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's the classic Monday. I'm looking at other words as I'm trying to say one that I've said hundreds of times. Robert Saleh has a unique approach for rookie minicamp. We'll talk about that this morning as rookie, that was where the E came from. Minicamp has come and gone here at the Vanderbilt Health Football Center. Nick Suss of the Tennessean joins us at 8:20. I think there's a rookie who perfectly embodies the Titans type that we'll talk about later in the show. We'll get to your phone calls, your comments, your musings on this Monday, May the 4th. Justin Hawkins, Ramon Foster, and Will Bolding. How we doing? Good morning.
We're good, man, and may the 4th be with you as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That is today, isn't it?
It is today. I actually remember today. I was like, I have zero Star Wars stuff. My kids had all kind of toys and helmets and stuff like that, and we've slowly began to remove some of those things from the house because clutter and living in abundance is a real thing. And when you start to look at your house certain ways, you're like, why do we even still have that? We're at that point right now.
Clutter.
Yeah,
it's fair.
Clutter's war. But may the 4th be with you. I'm sure every baseball park will have a Star Wars day, and every social media account will post some type of logo or mascot in a Star Wars type of day. So.
See, this is how we can illustrate that you are at least almost as big of a nerd as I am. The fact that you're the one who thought about that before I even could. And I've not even seen a second of any of those movies.
I've seen a few of them. I hadn't seen all of them in order like that.
It's kind of hard to now. There's like 8 new ones.
It is. And like the Disney app and stuff like they have side shows and everything else. Like The Mandalorian was a big thing, and I think there's a Mandalorian 2, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Just a wild scenario of just different shows and occults, by the way, as well. So
100%. I feel like they've made it hard to like catch up on all of them now because there's no way that unless you had a lot of PTO or just a long time of wanting to be patient, that you could watch every single Star Wars movie if you'd ever touched them before.
Is that so? I'm making my way slowly back through Mad Men again as well. Too.
Okay,
like you're right. You got to have a lot of PTO, especially for movies like Star Wars or shows
you can do like marathons.
Yeah. Like, and then sitting around, and it's nicer outside right now too. Like I've been anti-sit in the house guy.
Me too.
And it's been so nice as of late. And I think I'm really registering my mind on realizing how last year's spring was nice, and then it gets hot as heck. So I'm trying to beat the hot weather by not overly complaining right now and getting outside. Like I sat on the patio yesterday after we knocked out some stuff around the house. And just laid out for a second as much as I could. I was in a lawn chair just getting some sun. And I was just like, you know what? We need this.
That's right. We do. It's a great way to live.
We need this, man. I wish. Have you ever fallen into a cult show like that though, like Star Wars?
Well, I mean,
Lord of the
Marvel is
Rings?
kind of the big one for me, and I am catching up on that before the new Spider-Man movie comes out in July, and then Avengers: Doomsday, which comes out in December.
Does it?
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one.
Keisha ain't even brought that up to me yet,
Robert
man.
Downey Jr. is the villain now.
I heard he was making a comeback.
He's Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom. So I got to catch up with all those. That was kind of my thing in college and high school, but as more of those movies have come out, I've just kind of lost touch a little bit. But I always with the intention of getting back into it because I do love all that stuff.
Yeah.
I did start Shrinking on Apple TV though.
What you mean?
Love Shrinking.
Oh, that's a show.
I am not getting shorter. No, I started Shrinking on Apple TV, the show with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford.
Okay. Didn't I know they had a show together like that?
Very good. It's about 4 or 3 years old now. The season 3, I think, just finished in March. And I watched all of season 1 last week. Because I like a good 30-minute episodes, 10 episodes, watch 1.5 before I go to bed kind of situation. And that was my week last week. Especially when I'm prepping for a soccer game, because that's what I like to do as I prep.
And that's how I was going to correlate two things. One, I think I got it wrong, which is what I don't want to do with cult movies and shows. There's not a Mandalorian, too. So I'm off on that one, which is fine.
You could have fooled me.
It sounded convincing.
No clue. No clue.
It was very convincing. So my bad, the Wars fans, Star Wars fans. Somebody said Star Wars is overrated. The other part is what I noticed, too. So, by the way, I tried to catch you Saturday as well.
Yeah.
On the broadcast, and it was over already. So my bad.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of Game 7. I was watching
a lot of Game 7s over the weekend.
It was 3 of them. But I was like, man, me and Savage on the back porch. I was like, hey, let's check out Will real quick, and then it was over already. 0-0. Well, nil was the score at the end of it. It was a tie.
Scoreless.
Right? Scoreless.
Yep. 0-0.
0-0.
We'll talk about it.
No doubt. But I was trying to catch you. But I was correlating that is you bring up a lot about the, I ain't going to say a lot, but you watch the Apple TV shows.
Apple
often.
is what HBO was 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. They got a lot of shows on there right now.
They got a new one that's a thriller that I've not started yet, but actually is on my list this week. Widow's Bay.
Widow's Bay.
It's like
I got to get these.
It feels a little Stephen King adjacent.
Okay.
Like it's a guy stays at this little... how would I describe it? Like coastal town with like a lighthouse, like a New England kind of town situation. Yeah. It's haunted in some capacity. That's about as far as I can go describing it because all I've done is watch one trailer.
Okay.
But Apple TV is the best one doing it right now.
I've barely
in my opinion.
I'm back on old shows. I hadn't done that. By the way, you mentioned New England. Did you see the ESPN guys?
I did see Inside the NBA last night using their editorial control of their programming to put Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel doing the Titanic pose on the front of a gone fishing boat filled with Boston people and the Celtics who were knocked out by the 76ers.
It will never end.
I can't believe we didn't make it 10 minutes on this show without bringing that up.
It will never end.
But yet, I also very much can believe that.
I was wondering if you picked up on it as well. That crew.
I watched more NBA over the weekend than I have in a long time. I lingered for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's about 14 minutes and 30 seconds more than I usually do.
You know what I'm saying? I'm here for it, man.
Again, there was soccer prep to do. 615-737-1045. We will get to those headlines and all of the Game 7s that were played over the weekend on ice and on the hardwood. But want to start here with Robert Saleh speaking to the media. This was Friday. You've probably had the chance to react to this on your social media and just seeing all the stuff from rookie minicamp. Obviously, this happened after we went on Fair Friday, so we will spend some time on it today. The Titans have a bit of a unique plan for rookie minicamp, and Robert Saleh explained why.
The draft picks,
Oh, hello.
Let me fix that.
What the
Hold
heck?
on.
What?
I have no idea what just
How
happened.
does that happen?
Hold on.
It sounded like Darth Vader.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, we were
May
talking
the
about
Fourth.
Star Wars.
for rookie minicamp is that
Seems like somebody's tinkered with the audio levels back here.
Good.
rookie minicamp is only going to be for the tryout players.
draft picks,
Luke, I am your coach now.
You got to play a little bit more now, Hawk. Let me hear a little bit more. Let me hear.
to give background, when I'm going through the draft process, especially the 30 visits, they give me a lot of travel.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. That hurts my ears.
It does sound
I'm
like
kind of my throat a little
Give me
bit.
like 2 minutes.
it sounds like a 30s
These
audio.
are not the draft picks you are looking for.
You thought you were going to see
Cardell,
rookies.
I am your coach. See, again, this is where if we actually had watched Star Wars, we'd have a lot better things to contribute other than the lowest common denominator quotes. Wow, okay, that was not bad. That was not that bad at all.
That was good.
That was decent right there, man. I actually enjoy Robo Sala better, if I can be completely honest with
Darth
you.
Sala.
Darth Sala. I know some of the media folks are probably calling him Darth Sala at this point, man. I saw they were up in a tizzy about access on the practice field as well, man. A lot of folks were up in a tizzy about it, man. They were complaining. They were mad.
Before we hear from Robert Sala about it,
You know, I'm petty like
big
that.
deal. I know you are. Big deal that draft picks were not on the field over the weekend, or do you really care?
I don't care, but I also don't think it's a big deal. When
Those two are the same mind.
I just want to emphasize
It's
it
like
as
somebody
well.
offers you something to eat. You're like, I'm not hungry and I don't want it. Like, yeah, thank you. Your first comment clarified your
My boy
feelings very
calling me
well.
out this morning. I like it, Will. Yes, I don't care, and I don't think it's a big deal. But here's the thing. I'm not in that industry as well. I can respect the people who are your daily practice folks, your beat writers. I do respect the historic side of how they've operated as well. And I do know this, too. Like, this is how those folks earn. They get up close, like images and videos of the players for their own algorithm. I know some of you folks out there that follow those beat writers enjoy that as well. But from a Coach Sala's standpoint, from his player safety side of it as well, from his history and dealing with it, what was it, Fowler, a few years ago that was with Jacksonville.
Yep.
Years back. Dante Fowler got into training camp, and I remember when it happened as well. He got into training camp and immediately tore an ACL or Achilles or something like that, too, from not properly being ramped up. The PTSD of that, how, where this team is trying to go back up, you got to protect all assets is all it is. And with each new coach, each new era, there are rule changes like that. And you got to somewhat respect it. And I know I heard a little bit of a pushback about the construction side of the field and everything. But these are his rules. That's all I can say to you. And
Well, that part of it is, I think, its own thing.
Yeah.
I'm more just speaking about the rookies that were drafted not practicing.
they got so much time. And I do agree with Coach Sal on this one. I genuinely, not even joking, the ramp-up side of it is real, but not just that. These guys have been nonstop running, nonstop visits, nonstop hotel air to airplane air to car to meeting time. They hadn't had time to really train like that. So I do side with Coach Sal on that one, too. And then the other part, though, too, these 9 guys or 8 guys, they're going to get first dibs at all things Titans anyway. And especially when it comes to the draft picks, those guys will be fine. They've been busy, very busy, and everything they're asking to do is a baseline to see where they are right now, too. So how you feel about it?
Yeah, do we really think that if Anthony Hill misses a tackle or if Carnell Tate can't bring in a deep ball in October that we're going to be sitting here saying, oh, should have done those 2 practices in May. Really should have been out there in T-shirt and shorts, catching footballs at the end of April and May. No, of course not. And it comes down to what you view rookie minicamp as most valuable to your franchise. The Titans view rookie minicamp as a best opportunity to try out 50-odd players in order to see who the cream of the crop is of undrafted talent the week before a lot of other teams do.
Yes.
So they'd rather err on the side of let's do things earlier to give our scouts first dibs to be aggressive on guys that we think have a chance to make the 90-man roster versus wait a week, give our draft picks a little bit more time to ramp up and get second-rate undrafted tryout players in here because all the ones that really wanted to go ahead and prove themselves have already been with teams that worked out the first week of rookie minicamps. Because a lot of teams would have worked out last week. A lot of teams are going to work out this upcoming weekend and then roll straight into the organized team activities and the voluntary workouts after that. The Titans prioritized going earlier, but asking their draft picks to do less, and I don't really have any issue with it.
The other side of this as well, you'll find some of these rookie undrafted free agents also going up against the draft picks and trying to prove their worth against them too. there is a DB out there, I'm sure, that's going to try to lock up Cardinal Tate in the weekend. Well, Cardinal Tate doesn't need to involve themselves with players like that until they prove themselves respectfully. So is that side of it, too, for me. If you have somebody that's going up against Keldrick Falk that's in a tryout basis and they take Keldrick Falk to the ground and put him on his back or cut him, fall on the ground. Because I will say this as well. There are some guys that are in these rookie mini camps that you'll see athletically, talent-wise, just isn't there. And do you want to run the risk of one of your premier players that you drafted, and there's a little bit of a separation, getting injured or being in one of those spots like that or coming up and coming down on a ball or something silly. So the protection side of it, or where this team is and how this coach want to go about building this thing up for the long haul, I say, yeah, I respect it. I know some people dislike it, but it doesn't affect much down the line. There's so much time from now until September that you'll get your opportunity to get a report on these guys.
Yeah, the biggest thing it impacts is the ability for media members to get vertical phone videos of ladder drills this time of year to fill content in a time where it's hard to fill content.
No doubt. And it's getting squeezed.
We'll all be all right.
Yeah, we will.
We will really be all right. Live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio, Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. You will hear from Robert Saleh, not Darth Saleh, as well as other NFL executives anonymously speaking about the Titans' pick to Mike Sando of The Athletic coming up next. Monday morning on Ramon and Will, off and running on 104.5 The Zone, 615-737-1045. The number, if you want to jump in. Ramon Foster, Will Boulding, Justin Hawkins. So Robert Saleh met with the media over the weekend. A number of Titans players and coaches did. You'll hear that throughout the next couple of days because there was a lot of content to react to over the weekend, despite the fact that Titans draft picks were not on the practice field at the Vanderbilt Health Football Center. Robert Saleh speaking about why draft picks won't be working out. Justin, do we have this in a way the audience can understand it now?
I sure hope so.
All right, well, here goes nothing.
The draft picks,
Hey.
to give background, when they're going through the draft process, especially the 30 visits, they've been doing a lot of traveling. So over the weekend with our draft picks, we're going to be doing more baseline checking with them. So they'll be with the weight room, the strength and conditioning coaches. They're meeting with all of us throughout the day, but as far as practice goes, they'll be with the strength and conditioning staff, creating a baseline to see where they're at.
Is this something that you've done before with your draft picks?
I've call it a scar. I was on the staff that saw Dante Fowler tear his ACL on the first rep of rookie minicamp, and so I've just taken the philosophy. These guys have had a lot. They've had a lot of stress over the last month. Their bodies aren't ready for football, and so we're just trying to see where they're at so we can properly get them acclimated once they get here with the veterans.
Robert Saleh speaking on Friday. Ramon, this is probably a not reasonable way for me to think, but my brain goes to one place when I hear coaches in any capacity not having practice for any group of players. You know what I think of?
What's that?
The Titans beat the Bills on a Tuesday during COVID with no practice leading up to it.
This is true.
I mean, honestly, like at the end of the day, these are pros.
Yeah.
I know many of them just became pros, but whenever I think about getting remotely anxious about players not practicing, I think about that. Not saying that that's rooted in any sort of reasonable thought processes. That's just kind of where my mind goes all the time. I'm like, well, you know what? It's probably not the end of the world.
Yeah, no, it's not. And to your point, guys will be ready when you need them to be ready too. But again, as a player, as a retired player, I respect this approach though. One, because it takes a real strong stance and no ego to allow this to happen as well. The other part for me is this. I think going about it this way resets the culture of we're going to care about the players. And I think that's honestly just a sign. Not to say that they haven't before, but like being cautious about how you put players in this position is, I think, smart. It is trying to make sure that you get the return on your investment. I feel like when you have the ability to slow down the front end process of it all, you get players the opportunity to, one, get familiar with the building, get familiar with your rookie class that you came in with, get an opportunity to try to meet the coaches, remember the names, go around and see how you're supposed to go. Because I'll be honest with you, the first time around, for myself, like it is, hey, where's this room at? Who is that person right there? What do we do? And if they can also establish a baseline from all the training they've just gotten done, and that's what they're doing as well. That's the other part of it too, is they're getting baselines they're getting impact tests, which is the concussion test. I'm sure they're doing all of those things to see where you are as a player. Do you have a strain in your hamstring that we don't know about right now? Where's your weight at? Nutrition-wise, let's start and get a plan here. Are you good on weight? There's a lot of that goes on these weekends. Now, you know, the other side that I think of with this just shows you how hard training camp could be for those guys as well.
Sure. Makes sense.
When you're slow walking it this way, usually coaches that take care of you really good on the front end is to see what you're capable of on the back end.
Yeah, they
as
kick
well.
your butt on the back end.
Yeah, no
Right.
doubt. I don't think they got away with this one, is what I'm saying. The draft picks at all. This is not a vacation in Florida somewhere. This is hey, we're trying to get you prepped so that you can have every opportunity to make this team and to contribute. And I think the other part of this as well, how do you usually build up? How do good teams build up their teams? It's through the draft. Is making sure as many of those picks that you have that you feel like could be a part of your organization from a character side, talent side, and just a performance is available to you moving forward. Because to stay cheaper and manage it, these are the guys that we selected. If we go find some gems as far as the UDFAs, then that's a bonus in my personal opinion.
I do think there's a trend that I want to talk more about in hour 2 with less practice being more beneficial. And it has to do with Curt Cignetti in Indiana. Because I feel like that's becoming in vogue now, is to keep guys fresher in a day and age where we're told football is getting worse at every level because we're not practicing as much, or we're not hitting, or we're not. I feel like there's kind of another line of thinking to that I want to get back to coming up at 7:20.
No doubt.
But NFL executives talked to Mike Sando of The Athletic and say that the Titans made a safe pick with the number 4 overall selection in the 2026 NFL Draft, of course, by taking Carnell Tate, who's now wearing number 14. Mm-hmm. Another thing that some people are upset about, the fact that Chimere Dike is holding on to number 17, and Carnell Tate is getting number 14.
I wanted to hit on that.
Sure, go ahead.
That to me is the appropriate welcome to the NFL rookie moment for Carnell Tate.
Guy was all pro last year.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's not just a guy.
Not that an all pro or Pro Bowler hasn't changed their number, but sir, I made all pro as a rookie.
Like there are people who would have just bought Chimere Dike's jersey who were in the fan base.
Listen, if Chimere Dike had gone about his rookie year and just returned a couple of kicks, didn't really have much of a say so, like he could have pretty much got bullied out of that number. Like legit, I'm like, brother, I am top 5.
Or paid.
Yeah, or paid. Like, and Carnell said that he was going to pay him handsomely. Like there's a video out there where he said somebody's going to get a nice paycheck. And I think he was very serious about this until he realized who it was. You can't expect Jeffrey Simmons to give up 98 because you go pick a number 1 overall pick at some point in time. Like, it doesn't work like that. Your number is your identity right now. Like, Chimere Dike has all pro jerseys out there with his name on it. Carnell, I know you're the 4th overall and he was a 5th round selection. Chimere Dike. But guess what? You hadn't done anything in the league compared to what he's doing. And that in itself, the respect factor of it all, is, to me, if you're upset about that, I would say this: learn respect.
Is
what I would say. Like, I don't think you understand how hard it is to make an all-pro. Not just that, but all-pro in your rookie year. And I add another part: all-pro on a 3-14 team. Jeffrey Simmons and Chimere Dike, the most decorated guys on this team right now when it comes down to that.
It's true. Very true.
So, no, he's not supposed to give that up.
I agree.
Yeah, no. And I'm glad that Carnell pivoted as well. He ended up finding a sentimental sentimental moment for us why he chose 14.
Yep.
It's because his mom's birthday, I think
that's right.
14th.
Yep. And then he said, too, he's like, round 1, pick 4. 14.
14. And it was the best number available.
Yeah, he said it's also the best number available. One exec tells Mike Sando of The Athletic, here is a guy that is never going to screw up. He is a guy who you are going to want on a second contract. They have had horrible receivers there for a decade plus. He doesn't have an injury history like Jordan Tyson, and those were the only receivers worthy of a top 10 pick. A different executive says of Carnell Tate, solid player, not explosive fast, but he's strong and tough. I'd like to have him more instincts. I'd like him to have more instincts and a little more burst. Another executive says maybe they felt Jordan Tyson was too much risk. Sometimes the newer GM does not want to get criticized. It is a solid pick. When you frame Carnell Tate as the safest choice, is that the case? Was Carnell Tate the safest choice, considering the options the Titans had at 4 between him, Sonny Styles, and Arvell Reese?
Yeah, for an offensive player, I would say so. Yeah. I'm just not judging it based off player to player. I think going for an offensive player, he was the safest selection if that's what their goal was to come out of this. Defense, as far as Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese go, like, I think you can go tit for tat. If they were trying to go defense to build it up, one of those two dudes would have been the safest selection as well. Probably Sonny Styles or Arvell. It makes perfect sense to me that the goal of this field draft was going to be get an offensive weapon. Jeremiah Love, Carnell Tate was clearly their number 1 and number 2. So, yeah, looking at Carnell Tate, no injuries, come from Ohio State, checks the box on everything that you need him to. Was it a little bit of a surprise to some people? Yeah. But, again, when you're trying to build up an offense, especially through the draft, to me, there was no other safer pick than him when you look at it, especially when you talk about injuries and trying to have guys available. And not just that, his track record being able to just catch the ball and possess it. So, yeah, I do think it was the safest offensive player.
I think he was the safest pick at the most important position. I think I could make that argument more easily than I can just the safest overall pick. I think you could argue Caleb Downs is an equally safe pick to Carnell Tate. I think you could argue that Sonny Styles is an equally safe pick. Ardell Reese, I think, has the higher ceiling, but I don't think he's the safer pick.
No.
Considering the positional versatility, which you guys know, I don't think is as big of a deal as y'all do.
No doubt.
But at the same time, I can admit that there is probably a lower floor for Ardell Reese in this league than there is for Carnell Tate. But when all things are equal or similar, you get what helps your quarterback. And that was the discussion we had in the context of Jeremiah Love all offseason. And it turned out our thinking was correct, but on the wrong player because Love obviously wasn't available. And when all things are close to the same, you go with what helps your quarterback. And Carnell Tate is a guy for Cam Ward. I don't think it's the wrong line of thinking at all for the Titans of the front office to do the safe thing, considering the amount of unsafe first-round picks that the past two general managers have made.
I mean, legitimately, Traylon Burks. I mean, when you look at Isaiah Wilson,
Caleb Farley.
Yeah,
and the list goes on and on.
You've made risky picks and risky free agent options as well. Like the L'Jarius Sneed side of it, like you don't want to live that life. If safe means you can get those guys for 6 to 8 years, yes, take that every single time. That way you establish some level of success or understanding of what a Tennessee Titan is. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
I'm with you.
I look at other positions, like when people pick a tackle early in the draft, like safe picks, safe selections, like it takes risk going after the smaller, speedy guy. Like I say this with all due respect because I think he can play, but Casey Concepcion to me is not a safe pick. You're banking his ability to for his speed to be a part of his game for your offense. When I look at Carnell's side of it as well, I was like, okay, well, he's a possession type of guy. He can catch the football, and he's got good route running. The stuff that they mentioned as far as his burst, we brought that up when we kind of broke him down last week about, okay, yeah, he's got to finish his route, got to get more yak afterwards. But catching the football, moving the chains.
Got big mitts.
Safe. There's nothing wrong with safe.
Yep.
And then the other part, too, and I was mentioning it, I was talking to somebody recently about it. Like, I think we view all of these selections as if they're going to be phenoms. And I think that's somewhat unfair. To perform, yes, I think you should match your performance.
Just don't be busts.
But don't be busts. And that's why I was going, like, we look at Jamar Chase and the other receivers in this league, Justin Jefferson and guys that have really taken on that next step to becoming superstars. One, you have to become one. Jackson Smith-Njigba is becoming one. But there's only so many phenoms that come out. Like, everybody's looking at Jeremiah Smith right now. Like, I actually thought Marvin Harrison Jr. was going to turn into a phenom day one. And it takes time for players to get to that point. And I think when you view the expectations of these guys being top 10, top 5 selections, like being just good satisfies that pick sometimes if you get more years out of it and not become a bust the way you said it.
Sure. Comment in the Evident Bank chat says John Robinson should be sent to Siberia. Now, hang on a minute. I don't like doing this either. Because while those picks were happening, John Robinson still got you to an AFC Championship game. And did a lot of really good things on days 2 and 3 of some of the same drafts where the Titans weren't making impactful selections with their first-round picks. I'm not here to defend the end of some of the decisions on John Robinson, but let's also be honest that the guy built a really strong foundation really quickly here. And I'm not going to do revisionist history on John Robinson just because after COVID, things got rough. I still believe that without a global pandemic, John Robinson never makes a couple of those picks. I think that was more of an old school way of scouting, less analytically driven, more look you in the eye and scout you as a person in the room. And when you can't be in the room with someone, that got tougher. And a bunch of teams made bad picks. That regime did a good job of building a foundation. It's just really hard in this league to then go through a different phase of roster building and sustain it. They built it. They couldn't sustain it. Once those original draft picks up and left, like Jack Conklin and Corey Davis, who weren't world beater players by any stretch of the imagination. But again, you talk about safe, you talk about solid pros. There were some solid pros who were here. And when those guys needed to be replaced or got old, they finally had those bad draft decisions catch up with him. But I send him to, like, what are we talking about, man? Like, I don't think that's totally fair for someone who helped build the best Titans football teams that we've seen in the last decade plus.
That's what everybody's recalling right now. It's his era. And then the other side of it, though, too, sometimes players just don't work out. We're watching right now Alabama tackle Evan Neal, 7th overall pick in the 2022 draft, just looked like he's just fizzling out himself. I'm seeing, of course, right now in Pittsburgh, Broderick Jones, who didn't get his his 5th-year option picked up by Pittsburgh. Like, I know Isaiah Wilson's situation and Caleb Farley's just totally different because one crashed out, literally and figuratively, and the other one just couldn't get healthy. Traylon Burke's situation as well. You look at that one and just kind of say to yourself, well, what if he'd have had a weekend like Robert Saleh's having right now for the rookies where he doesn't get injured or he got to, they understand where his conditioning is. Draft picks strike out.
Yeah,
Crash outs
of course.
is a totally different conversation. Isaiah Wilson is in a class of his own, but I don't think anybody could understand Caleb Farley or Traylon Burks and say that they didn't want to be successful.
Well, and two, like that is the biggest thing. It's the biggest decision that GMs make. But there are examples of teams that are competitive in this league whiffing on draft picks. John Lynch drafted Trey Lance. Still have been to multiple Super Bowls in the time that Trey Lance was supposed to be the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers because he did enough things to make up for it. He found Brock Purdy. You call it lucky, you call it good, call it whatever you want. He still found him.
Yeah, he did.
A commenter on YouTube says, that's like saying, yeah, I had an affair, but remember I bought you that car for your birthday that one time? Yeah, that's not the same thing at all, though, is it? Because in this league, Ramon, you know it better than anybody, regimes end badly. Good eras of football end badly.
Patriots.
Does Bill Belichick's ending in New England undo the Super Bowls that he won? I know it's not the same thing because he had rings, plural, and we never got one here. But that's the same line of thinking. Like, what happens at the end, the lasting impression that you leave is not your legacy as a general manager, as a coach in the NFL, because the further you go, the harder it gets to sustain it. Mm-hmm. The more good draft picks you make, the good big contracts you got to hand out. The more 50-year options you either got to accept or decline. And if you decline them, who else you drafted?
Yep.
Now, all of a sudden, you only have the money to go replace that guy with a 5th-round draft pick. Like, that's part of what impresses me about Kansas City. It's not what they've done on offense. It's the way that they keep finding these day 3 defensive backs to be the new L'Jarius Sneed after they get rid of L'Jarius Sneed. And they're going to have to do it again this year because now Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie are both Los Angeles Rams. So Noel Williams, you're up next. Like, that's more the story on why things have stayed good there.
I agree.
Is they've continued to make good day 2 and 3 draft selections. Yes, the first-round picks were bad at the end under John Robinson, but the second that the day 2 and 3 ones started to become bad as well, that's when things really started to get away because that's the foundation of your football team.
Preach.
615-737-1045. Yes, my temperature is what it's supposed to be. Yes, I'm feeling okay. No one's holding me for ransom. We'll talk about some of the NBA Game 7s coming up next.
This Mother's Day, for the mother in your life, don't just mail it in. Get her something memorable, meaningful, timeless. Show her how much she's appreciated with a beautiful piece of jewelry from Genesis Diamonds. Genesis Diamonds has created the best Mother's Day collections ever, all right? Imagine her face lighting up when she opens a dazzling diamond bracelet or a pair of sparkling diamond earrings, or imagine a stunning colored gemstone pendant. Each one hand-selected and designed to last, not just this year, but for decades list of birthdays, anniversaries, and just ordinary days to come. Genesis has the gifts that make a statement. Guys, you need to check this out. And this year, Genesis has added brand new creations from the exclusive designers, truly one-of-a-kind pieces she won't see anywhere else. In fact, for the ultimate way to show how much she means to you, step inside Genesis' brand new half-price vault, a special collection of exquisite jewelry, all at an incredible 50% off. So this Mother's Day, give her more than a casual gift. Give her something. Give her a memory she'll wear close to her heart every single day. Genesis Diamonds, they're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Ramon Will on 104.5 The Zone. Wrap it up. Hour number 1, 615-737-1045, our number. A lot of Game 7s over the weekend, Ramon.
Yes, it was.
Starting with the Detroit Pistons. Come out of a 3-1 hole to take down the Orlando Magic. Oh. Can't mention the Magic without singing the song. No. The way to get me, and I'm sure many others, to care about an NBA game in this neck of the woods. Tell me there's a former Vol just balling out. Tobias Harris, turn back the clock a little bit. 30 points to go with Cade Cunningham's 32. 116-94. The Pistons have won a playoff series for the first time in 18 years, Ramon.
Mm-hmm. That was tough. They had all the stars out last night, too. Late yesterday. Ben Wallace was there. Zeke was there. Isaiah Thomas, Rip Hamilton. They all showed up. And Detroit as well, man. I say this, too. It's fun watching them be good because it does take me back to that era in which they were the big Ben Wallace throw that they were playing with.
That's right.
You saw them. They're a very physical team. They got some shooters out there, man, and they absolutely played ball. Orlando just didn't have enough. Legitimately did not have enough going into it. Paolo Banchero, the young phenom, man, absolutely did all you needed him to. His issue was he had no help whatsoever. It was him balling. I think in the first half, he had pretty much half of the points, if I'm not mistaken. He absolutely cooked. But again, the way Detroit was playing up and down the court as well. And you mentioned Tobias. Tobias, last time he was in a Game 7 scenario, I think it was with Philly. I know Chuck asked him, Charles Barkley asked him about it in the postgame, and he kind of looked at him sideways like, hey, They got to shut up now. You got 30 points in a Game 7 because I think he played, it was 36 minutes the last time he was in a Game 7 with 0 points. So Tobias showed up this yesterday, man, for a team that absolutely needed that. Detroit's fun to watch. Real fun to watch. And not just that, Chaz Lanier's on that roster as well, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Nice.
Ended up logging just some burn time at the end. He got 1 minute in. But again, 2 balls on that squad if you wanted a rooting interest in it. But they're a fun team to watch in general when they're on.
It took 44 years, but the 76ers finally beat the Celtics in a playoff series. Another 3-1 comeback, almost. The 76ers and Joel Embiid put away the Celtics. Actually, they were the ones who finished the 3-1 comeback. Before Saturday's win, the 76ers had gone an NBA record 0-18 when trailing 3-1 in a series. Boston was 32-0 when holding a 3-1 series lead. They became the 14th team in NBA history to come back from down 3-1. Of course, then the Pistons became number 15 yesterday, 109-100. Joel Embiid cooked in this game, and he's got Jaylen Brown doing a Twitch stream the next day yesterday talking about how floppings ruined the NBA, and Joel Embiid flops too much. And I don't know, maybe we should ban doing Twitch streams the day after you give up a 3-1 lead in a postseason series.
Exactly.
I don't care what sport it is. That should not be happening.
They were without Jason Tatum, so there's that. He had a left knee issue, if I'm not
complications
mistaken.
from how long he was out with the Achilles stuff, because he came back way too quick.
He did. And not just that, he had good minutes as well, but the way the body works is when you're trying to overwork one side, you're probably grinding it down.
Overcompensate.
And that left knee probably had a little bit of an injury. But again, that was nothing like Jaylen Brown. There's not a whole lot that he could say. He was also foul searching as well. He ended up missing some shots early in that game where you could tell he was trying to get some contact with an and one, just totally missing buckets. The issue that Jaylen Brown and the Boston Celtics have is they lived and died by the three. What you saw from Philadelphia was those boys get long. They got long rebounds and ended up running up and down the court in transition. They couldn't do enough. Again, Derek White was in a position where they were trying to just live at the 3-point line. Here's where they were from threes. Will, they shot 49 of them, which that's, from my understanding, close to what their average is as well. They're over 43s a game. They went 13 for 49 on three-pointers going into it. So it wasn't just a Joel Embiid flop fest. It wasn't even close to that. I feel like that's very disrespectful for Embiid as well. He absolutely cooked. I think he was very close to getting a triple-double as well. But here's what they did. They start off the game giving the ball to him. He absolutely has a nice mid-range with his jump shot. He shot a couple of threes as well, and he absolutely worked them in the paint. They don't have enough size or rebounding that was going to allow them to win that game at all. That, to me, is a Boston Celtics fumble. The 109 to 100, personally, wasn't even that close. As soon as they got close, you ended up seeing Tyrese Maxey or Paul George or Joel Embiid absolutely go back to work. They couldn't catch up. Paul George started that thing off right.
Okay.
He did. When you saw him open up with I think he had a pull up in the game, Will, and he cooked early. They played like they understood Game 7 way better than Boston did. Boston seemed like they were just searching for anything.
Game 7 last night on ice as well as the Montreal Canadiens take down the Tampa Bay Lightning. This one was fascinating because Montreal did not have a shot on goal in the second period. The entire second period. No shots on goal. Their shot total was the second lowest in a playoff game since shots on goal were first officially tracked in the 1959 to 60 season. And the lowest in that time span for a winning team. The Leafs had 6 shots on goal in a 2000 series against the Devils. The Canadiens won Game 7 on the road with 9 shots on goal. You know how crazy that is? 9 shots on goal. This is the same night where the Avalanche started off Game 1 of their next round series in the Western Conference, and they scored 9 goals. In one night, a team won with 9. No, that's Minnesota. I'm talking about Colorado. There is a game in the same night where Colorado scored 9 goals and Montreal won a game with 9 shots on goal. That is a ridiculous thing to happen in one day.
Oh, my God.
Ridiculous thing to happen in one day. But considering the way Tampa kind of stretched the rules a couple years ago to win another cup, not really my favorite team. So I have no reason to dislike the Lightning, other than the fact that they kind of cheated to win a cup a couple years ago. So I'm not bothered by the fact that they get knocked out.
Good on the Canadians for being that kind of up-and-coming team, too, with Canadiens. Thank you. Sorry.
You knew exactly.
I'm sorry. I'm a little bit more American than that. Yeah. Kudos for them with Cole Caulfield leading the way down there. The short stuff is what he is, but he is fantastic. He's a little spitfire.
Before 7 a.m.?
Yeah, well, he is, though. He's like 5'6".
Wow.
But good on them, though. They deserved that series. They played well all season. They got back after. Man, I don't like you.
To our short kings.
To our short kings, man.
He is, though.
Is he quick on the ice, though?
Oh, God. Yeah, he's a little spitfire.
A little spitfire.
He's sneaky fast.
Sneaky fast. He's a little tight.
Lunch pail guy.
Might as well call him little tight.
He's a real first in, last out kind of player. Yeah.
Sure is.
He plays real big for his size.
615-737-1045. Fernando Mendoza is so media trained. He made some headlines over the weekend from one answer he had at a Vegas Raiders press conference that you'll hear next.
It's Ramon and Will here for Window Nation. Good people, we having a little bit of a false spring going on, false winter, whichever one it is. But I do know we are in the window of spring. And it's a great time to open up your windows. But what if your windows don't open easy, or they leak or broken, or you just repainting them again so that you can seal them up? Will and I got some good news for you. The pros at Window Nation can help you get new, energy-efficient windows at a great price, Will.
It sure can, Ramon. And May's weather is pretty nice, but those hot summer days will be here soon. Expect high utility bills from your AC running constantly. Take advantage of a new offer from Window Nation. Window Nation's Buy 4 Windows, Get 4 free sale is going on now. You could replace all the windows in your home and get half of them free. You could get 0 down payment and no payments or interest for 2 years. And experts report that windows retain 80% of their value. Check them out online at windownation.com. That's online, windownation.com. Buy 4 windows, get 4 free. Going on now, on sale at windownation.com.
7:03. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports, the Mid-Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. NBA playoffs this weekend. 3 Game 7s and 2 teams complete the 3-1 series comeback. On Saturday, the 76ers beat the Celtics 109-100 behind Joel Embiid's 34 points and Tyrese Maxey's 30 points, completing that 3-1 comeback, beating the Celtics for the first time in the playoffs in over 44 years. The 76ers will now play the New York Knicks in round 2. On Sunday, the Pistons rout the Magic 116-94, completing their 3-1 comeback. And the Cavs, they beat the Raptors 114-102 in Game 7. Now the Pistons and Cavs will play each other in round 2. NHL playoffs on Sunday, the Canadiens take down the Lightning in Game 7 2-1 and advance to play the Sabres in the second round. Round 2 kicked off in high-scoring fashion in the Western Conference playoff race as the Avalanche and Wild combined for 15 goals. It saw Colorado take this one 9-6 and the 1-0 lead in their series. And on Saturday night, Nashville Soccer Club earned a point in a scoreless draw against the Philadelphia Union. Next up, Nashville travels to Mexico Tuesday night in the second leg of the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinals against Tigres. 8:30 p.m. is the first kick. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans involves. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. and a very good Monday morning to you here on Ramon and Will. 615-737-1045, the number. A lot of Game 7s over the weekend to react to. Rookie minicamp that took place without draft picks being on the field. I feel like there's a trend that is changing in football that we're going to talk about with Ramon coming up in 15 minutes. Someone who played under some different rules and regulations for practices. And yes, we're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice.
Not a game, not a game, not a game. We're talking about practice. No, I'm not calling you old either. The fact that you had different rules and regulations around NFL camps and things of that nature.
Days, man.
But one of the newest NFL players and faces of the league made headlines over the weekend. Raiders quarterback Fernando Mendoza, currently the backup quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders behind Kirk Cousins, his mentor, who he'll be shopping at Kohl's with probably sooner rather than later in Sin City, was asked about going to the White House with Indiana football. And I know we just said the words White House. We're not getting remotely political here, so don't even bring that to any of our social media replies or our YouTube comments.
Thank you.
I'm only playing this audio because of how well trained Fernando Mendoza already is. And because I'm fascinated with how his personality is going to fit in an NFL locker room. This was Mendoza making headlines about why he may not go with his teammates when he spoke over the weekend.
The trip to the White House, I think 11th, May 11th, later this month. Are you able to make that trip? Are you planning on going there?
I believe May 11th is the first day of OTAs. If I'm not mistaken, I have the calendar. However, I mean, I don't have the calendar. Sorry. Well, maybe I do. I'm sorry. I gotta check Teamworks.
Teamworks.
If it is on the first day of OTAs, like I said, I'm on the bottom of the totem pole here. I gotta prove myself. I can't miss practice. I don't know anything official. I don't have the calendar, but I just wouldn't. As a rookie, I don't think that's a good look. And I want to, try to best serve my teammates. And I don't know if that'd be accomplishing that goal. Because it's, although it'd be, yeah.
Fernando Mendoza.
I love this for him.
How do you think his personality fits in Vegas?
What I know about him, and I've heard people that spoke about him, he's got a whole lot more layers than we know. His podium versus in real life, like teammate side of it, apparently he's a dude. And I don't mean that and he's living two separate lives, but to your point, he's trained well in the media. He's really a quarterback that knows how to talk and knows how to go about setting himself up to stay unscathed from people throwing darts at him, because this is, now that he's an NFL player, this is the next phase for him, is learning how to navigate that as well. I think it's super smart on how he went about answering this. It keeps him clean. It keeps him out of everybody's agendas, the way you look at it too. And when you view what he said, it's true. People want their quarterback to be all in. How he fits Vegas to me is a melting pot of all things left and all things right, all things up and all things down. I think he fits right in the middle where he's going to go to the beat of his own drum perfectly is the way I almost look at it, Will. Like, I know people look at Vegas and say, hey, it's the land of sin. It's Sin City. I don't think that really bothers a guy like Fernando Mendoza. Will he dabble? Heck, I saw franchise quarterbacks out in Vegas in the suites when I was out there kicking and having a good time. So, like, he's going to go do his thing. He will get invited to all the red carpet stuff that Vegas has available to him, but I think he will do exactly what he's doing right now, pick and choose how he goes about building up his career representing that team.
I mean, that guy was bobbing and weaving a minefield question with just ease. I mean, he looks like a seasoned vet out here.
I'm talking about.
That is the intersection of sports and politics where no matter what you say, it is going to be combed through with a fine-tooth comb. And he gave maybe the only answer, Ramon, that I don't think is going to make anybody mad.
Nobody.
Within reason. Like, obviously, I could say the sky's blue and somebody's going to get mad about it. But
did you not see it being purple?
Yeah, right. Like, if you look hard enough, someone's going to be upset. But the way that he carried himself there, if he just carries himself like that in general, I think the stuff about him being too innocent and too kind and too normal for an NFL locker room is just a non-story. I think if you can play, none of that stuff really matters. And he can play.
And that's what he's putting his focus on right there. It's like, look, I got to learn this playbook. Like, there is a conversation that he has to follow up Kirk Cousins at one point in time. I know we shouldn't correlate it to Tom Brady and his abilities to be around these quarterbacks, but you are at the franchise is going to have a lot of pressure by who plays quarterback because Tom Brady is part owner of that team and publicly represents him more than Davises do at this point in time. But I love and hate this for Fernando because, again, somebody's going to double back and try to ask him again, well, why didn't you go? Did you want to go support your teams? No, this is the professional side of his career and one of the most important positions in the league, if not the most important position. I would say this. The trend in which these younger guys are coming into the league right now, and I would throw Cam into that conversation because last year, as professional as any young quarterback could be, Cam Ward attempted to do everything right. Fernando Mendoza's in the same situation right now, albeit they won the national championship, and there's a visit to the White House. Fernando perfectly executed on how you get around supporting or not supporting somebody based off of something that won't matter when you're dead.
Right.
His career is what will end up mattering.
I think it's an interesting story because I do think Fernando is a different kind of person, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do think he is wired differently to a lot of other quarterbacks and a lot of other number one overall picks, but I don't think that has to be an obstacle for him. Mm-hmm. I think it's something to monitor. I think it's interesting. I don't know if it's really all that important. No. I think there are a ton of different personalities that behind closed doors we never really get to learn as much about because they're not quarterbacks. They're not national championship winning quarterbacks. I mean, Ramon, how many different types of people did you share a locker room with in Pittsburgh that nobody ever really batted an eye at because y'all were winning?
Every type. Okay, I'm talking about from the most worldly to the most wholesome. Like one of the best, my best teammates I've had was Jericho Kotrick. One of the most faithful dudes I absolutely knew. Quiet, chilled, liked to laugh and joke a little bit, but quiet as kept. Then on the other side of me, I had Michael Vick. And down the locker room, I had Ben Roethlisberger. And I had Antonio Brown. Like there's a lot that goes into the locker room dynamic. And here's what I would say. If you're a good teammate, well, I'll say this. If you're a good player, you'll find your way meshed into those locker rooms. It's not a problem. And like I said, from the people I know that spoke closely to Fernando Mendoza, like he knows how to be a guy, is what I'm telling you. You don't have to worry about him being nervous or he the first one to leave because he don't want to be around some craziness in the locker room. Like that's what makes him a good quarterback as well, is being able to be malleable around his teammates in which he can just be one of the guys. And right now, for him as a rookie, it is appropriate for him to just be quiet, watch and learn, and then go prove yourself. Perfect explanation to him on why he's choosing not to go celebrate with his national championship team.
And it helps that he has the veteran version of himself already in that locker room in Kirk Cousins.
That's true.
It's a very seamless transition right there because they're the very similar type of person.
No doubt about it. And again, he's Cuban from Florida. Can you imagine the left and right attachment to Fernando going to the White House if he did go? Like, nobody wants these type of issues or headlines follow them as well. I had a teammate as well that got associated with some stuff. Alejandro Villanueva, of course, being a veteran, being a Ranger back in 2017. It was some images out there that he wasn't proud of because he didn't co-sign on the messaging behind his face and body being used on certain platforms and stuff. And that's what happens. Fernando's the perfect candidate for people to attack because how, I put in air quotation mark, how nice he's perceived to be.
615-737-1045, our number. Narratives about Titans rookie minicamp got ridiculous over the weekend. And there was a moment from Titans practice that went viral for a really dumb reason. We'll explain what we mean coming up next.
If you're looking for TRT that's flexible enough for your lifestyle, man, head over to Low T Center, the number one name in TRT. You can choose testosterone shots, pills, or pay with your insurance or out of pocket as well. Even have your treatment shipped to your door if you like. And now Low T Center is offering new peptides, new treatments, and so much more. I'm talking about boost energy. You can boost your libido, confidence for results that you can feel. Synergix and Low T Center provide testosterone replacement therapy and hormone replacement tailored to your body, your lifestyle, and your budget. When hormones are imbalanced, patients feel fatigued. They have a low drive, mood changes, and body changes as well. Balancing your hormones means living a better, healthier life. And also this, testosterone is not just for men. Testosterone is important for women as well, where it can boost your energy, confidence, your drive, and more. And no, it won't turn you into a man at all. Doses for women are very careful, so you can see they can help you meet your goals as well. The free T-test is a simple blood test called a total testosterone test. It takes about 20 minutes to get results. Then you are right out the door with answers and a method that is personalized and provider-led as well. All the providers are licensed in their field as well, too. I'm here to tell you right now, book your free testosterone test at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
Hey, it's Will Bowling from my friends at Lee Company. Is your home's air conditioning ready to keep up with the warmer months ahead? Well, Lee Company has you covered. Lee Company's team of professional technicians will give your home's AC a tune-up as well as seasonal cleaning and maintenance to help you stay ahead of the heat and humidity. I feel like spring is the shortest season that we have here in Middle Tennessee. We're going to snap a finger and it's going to be full summer weather all the time. So make sure that your AC unit is ready now before things heat up around the area. Don't let your AC fail this summer. Head on over to leecompany.com to schedule your appointment today. Trust the pros and the business that have been in business for over 80 years here in Middle Tennessee. Lee Company's been trusted since 1944. They are the authority in making sure your HVAC system is running the way that it's supposed to. Check them out online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. Rookie minicamp came and went over at the Vanderbilt Health Football Center. I feel like I'm describing it as that, Ramon, so much just to get used to saying it still, because I'm still trusting that I'm going to be sleep deprived one morning and be like, over at the, and say the old name.
Yeah.
But it is the Vanderbilt Health Football Center now.
I like it, actually.
And there was a moment that went viral as Bones Fossil set up a drill for a bunch of players who were trying out for the Titans over the weekend. That was the main objective of rookie minicamp, to show off their agility, show off their motor, special teams drill. And if you know Bones Fossil, you know that nobody on the planet loves special teams half as much as Bones Fossil loves special teams. Of course, that's John Bones Fossil. If you're unfamiliar, that's the Titans special teams coach. Jim Wyatt put out a video of Tyron Montgomery performing an obstacle course style agility drill that ended with catching a tennis ball. That clip has over 4 million views on Twitter. Dan Duggan of The Athletic says, Titans steal this drill from the Westminster Dog Show. A guy who is claiming as a football coach, his name is Ross Cooper, says it's time for NFL staffs to hire skill coaches to set up drills, help players improve and acquire skill. They're great at technique and scheme. Strength and conditioning handles the weight room. There's a real void when we see this at every practice. This is time improvement could happen. I don't know what that sentence means. This is time improvement could happen. That's what he said on Twitter. Says, we see this at every practice. Let's start there. Ross, you could probably apply for a credential for NFL practice. But tell me you've not covered an NFL practice without telling me you've never covered an NFL practice. This ain't happening at every practice.
No, it's not.
Why, in your mind, Ramon, would a team have an agility drill where a player starts with his belly on the ground like he's going to do a push-up and run an obstacle course? Is this something that you've seen before?
Yeah. This is one, again, acclimation to movements. Guys getting up. You want to see the reaction of players as well. And it's also seeing the suddenness of how you start and you stop. Like, there's a method behind all of it as well. There's times where we do stuff where we just simply jump right to left to right. It is a part of your ability to show athleticism, ankle bend, being able to be close to the ground. How quickly can you get up? And some of this, to be quite honest, which is what is your will and what's your drive too? Like, the other part about NFL practices as well is it's not for everybody when it boils down to how you conduct yours, what it looks like. This drill right here, the one I saw from Coach Fossil, he do for them is what the life that these guys live. There's a bunch of reactions. There's a bunch of turns. There's a bunch of being able to finish a drill. And to be quite honest with you, is just another way for those guys to kind of loosen up a little bit and so they can get in football reaction mode. Like, you got to be able to activate the body. Like, a good bit of what we do, Will, is instinct and reaction. That's what you're going for out of those types of drills.
So Jim Wyatt wrote about this on his day 2 observations of rookie minicamp at TennesseeTitans.com and says, the Titans once again took part in an action-packed agility drill that was designed by special teams coordinator John Fossil. I posted a video, he says, of receiver Tyron Montgomery going through this drill Friday and was shocked to see over 4 million folks, and counting, had viewed it on X, many questioning its purpose. With 58 players taking part this weekend on a tryout basis, believe me, the Titans aren't working on scheme during rookie minicamp. Coaches want to see these guys on the move. And during this 10-minute period, the drill provides coaches some clues on how fluid some of those guys are in a short period of time. The ex-police might not be impressed, but I doubt the coaches really care, to be honest. And then he attaches the video that blew up on Friday. Hal Presley, another wide receiver, did the same drill on Saturday. Here's the thing. If you are a type of player that needs to be at a 50-player tryout in order to just make a 90-man roster and be invited to OTAs and minicamp and training camp, you've got to show me that you give a crap. You've got to show me that you're willing to play and run through the echo of the whistle. You've got to show me that you are not cautious in the way that you are going to go through drills, because you are more of a practice player than you are a football player until you are told otherwise. Even guys who are of the Xavier Restrepo ilk. Bryce Oliver, who had to earn being a football player by being a practice player. We're talking about guys like Trey Avery, who was here and stuck for quite some time. Joshua Kalu. We can go down the list of special teamers who got themselves on-field jobs by working out and giving a crap during practice. That's all this is. Show me that you care. Show me that you're going to take this seriously, and let me put you through a lot of running in order to test you and push you, because that's what you're going to be asked to do if you do make it, and you're likely just going to be a core special teamer. I also think this gives more reasoning, Ramon, as to why the draft picks weren't out there. You really think Carnell Tate is going to be asked to go through an agility drill where he's going from a push-up position to doing like a burpee, running through a ladder, catching a tennis ball, and like running around? Like, Carnell Tate's not going to be asked to be a gunner.
No, he's not.
Tyron Montgomery, if he makes it, is going to be asked to be a gunner and to be whatever else Bones Fossil can put him through agility-wise. So when you put all the puzzle pieces together and actually look at, I don't know, context, I think it makes a lot of sense the way the Titans chose to do rookie minicamp.
And the other part, though, too, is given the opportunity, you, too, will also do those drills. Like, you will do a frog drill if you have to, or you'll hit the ground and roll. That's what this is all about. Again, it's activation to see who moves, who looks like an athlete. Because, again, to your point, we spoke about the roster late last week when discussing, like, I really don't feel like there is a lot of open spots on this team. And if you listen to Coach Robert Saleh speak, like, athleticism plays a part into it. Being fast, being violent, being able to move is a part of the conversation that they're looking for. Like, they're trying to raise the floor, in my opinion, on what they want their representation of players to look like on the field. And again, everybody does agility drills. Everybody has been through a circuit. And to your point, they're young enough, dumb enough to where they'll do anything you ask them to do at this point. And I don't mean dumb in the sense of them not being smart. I mean that they don't know what this league is all about. And it does usually go back to the basics each and every time when you look at each level that you're in. Can you bend? Can you turn the corner? Can you stop and go? Oh, and can you also catch the ball at the end of the drill? This is, to me, again, where I feel like a lot of teams get away from. They get away from the basics. You want to see players being able to be available to you and to be reactionary more than almost anything else whenever you're putting them in these type of environments. I ain't got no problem with it. I know a lot of people joked about it. It looked like the video was kind of sped up a little bit with Tyron Montgomery running it. Other than that, it's a regular day at the office.
He apparently made some good plays
in the spring
over the weekend. Xavier Restrepo was out there as well.
Did he? I ain't never get a post this time. I do know he was out there. Some veterans get an opportunity to go back in second year. At least we know he's healthy too, because he in the end of year injury.
What does that tell you about his place on this team right now?
It's just where he's at, and it's smart to be out there. Like, he's still in a fighter position is where I'm in.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it tells you he's more out than in.
Yeah, if we can be quite honest.
If the 53-man roster was put together today, a player who feels the need to go to rookie minicamp with 50 players trying out for the team is a player that knows that they've got to do every single thing possible in order to make the team.
You're not a part of the 53 just yet. You're an undrafted free agent that made one or two plays last year.
I mean, I think if you even expanded it to 63, I don't know if he's a part of that either.
Yeah. No, he's not. How many games was Xavier Restrepo up for last year on the active roster? I'm not sure. What I'm getting at is I'm not sure
look it up.
If he even got a credited season last year. Not yet.
He played in 2 games, had 7 targets, 3 catches for 41 yards.
How many games was he up for? Does it say? Does it give him 3?
Say.
Okay.
It does not say.
Well, if he was only up for 2 games, then he might not have got a credited season. Now, what will happen is once he becomes a vested player, either through practice squad or being on the active roster, he can go back and get this rookie year later. But you got to be on the roster, I think, for 3 games to get a credited season, maybe 4 at this point in time because of the 17th game. But to your point about him showing up, yes, he has to. Each and every one of these events, he has to be there. I thought last year's decision to bring him in, I personally didn't like the idea of it, although I'm not saying he didn't deserve an opportunity, but it led to the conversation here that Cam's going to have a weapon because Xavier Restrepo was brought here as a UDFA, and I think that's super unfair to him. I thought it raised super high expectation from him that they were just going to pick up and hit the ground running like they did in Miami, and Xavier is going to get all these yards. The league doesn't work like that. If you're correlating that to Xavier Restrepo with his, I guess, athleticism, his height restrictions, I guess, as well, not super fast but kind of quick, well, then you also got to look at the same conversation that's being had about Diego Pavia. Or let's go to the opposite end of this. Real big guys in the NFL that got to find ways to play smaller. Like when you look at big offensive linemen, can you roll that way? Like there's both ends of the spectrum when trying to figure out what an NFL player is. And I feel like Xavier's situation that he was in last year was super unfair in how he was projected to be used here by the fans or people in public.
We were talking more about Restrepo as an impact for this offense than we were Jim DK.
Yeah. And that's the point.
Who was picked at the top of day 3.
And ran a 4.3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And made play. Like, I know he didn't make as many plays as Restrepo did at Miami. But, like, when you look at what the league can use and utilize, like, I think it showed case in point number 1 with him being an all-pro this year.
Sure.
Like, that's why when the Chimere Dika was a draft pick and Xavier Restrepo wasn't. Now, again, there's got to be a situation moving forward with Restrepo that now with Cardinal Tate being in the fold as well, more competition, more talent, he's got to find unique ways to be an NFL player, and that needs to come through special teams. And I think he'll be a willing participant. It's just a matter of what is his speed going to look like on being a gunner or protection if he's never done that at Miami.
Yeah, and punt. I know that fans love him, but, I mean, at this point, like, with all due respect, until proven otherwise, it's not really a story for this team.
Nah, not this year.
No.
Not this year.
No, not this year. Between Wan'Dale Robinson and what he can provide you in the slot, like, you should want him to get all of that love and attention and production. At the end of the day, at this point, like he's a second-year undrafted receiver who felt the need to go to rookie minicamp. Like it's just kind of a non-story at this point.
I look at Mason Kinsey in the same conversation.
Yeah, right. I mean,
this year,
you got new faces now. Robert Saleh spoke over the weekend about why his draft picks would not perform at rookie minicamp over the weekend.
The draft picks, to give background, when they're going through the draft process, especially the 30 visits, they've been doing a lot of traveling. So over the weekend with our draft picks, we're going to be doing more baseline checking with them. So they'll be with the weight room, the strength and conditioning coaches. They're meeting with all of us throughout the day, but as far as practice goes, they'll be with the strength and conditioning staff, creating a baseline to see where they're at.
Is this something that you've done before with your draft picks?
I've call it a scar. I was on the staff that saw Dante Fowler tear his ACL on the first rep of rookie minicamp, and so I've just taken the philosophy. These guys have had a lot. They've had a lot of stress over the last month. Their bodies aren't ready for football, and so we're just trying to see where they're at so we can properly get them acclimated once they get here with the veterans.
So I think something is interesting to me here, Ramon, how the narrative is changing a little bit publicly on practice. And this may sound insignificant, and you may be rolling your eyes and saying like, oh, well, why are we talking about practice? To me, it's because the team that just won the national championship in college football did so very publicly, talking about working smarter, not harder on the practice field.
Yeah.
I'm really fascinated by this, and maybe I'm too interested in it, about how Curt Cignetti in Indiana spent a shorter amount of time being a little more focused in practice, not being out on the grass very long at all compared to 5 years ago, certainly compared to when you were an NFL player or you were a college football player. There's no two-a-days, obviously. No. And how that worked for an Indiana team that was healthy by the end of last season. Derek Owings, the new Tennessee strength coach who was a part of that, who's done interviews talking about how guys were setting their PRs in GPS timing and running late in the season. Yeah. We weren't peaking in August and then playing football. Everybody's getting slower at practice. We want to be playing our fastest for the biggest games. Makes a ton of sense, right?
It does.
Obviously, Robert Saleh and the Titans are not scheduling rookie minicamp practices based off of Curt Cignetti in Indiana. I'm not saying these two things are related, but I do think the timing of the dialogue about practice is interesting to me because it feels like the narrative has changed from football's not what it used to be, guys are soft, guys are not hitting anymore, the game is sloppy because guys aren't practicing, to now, Ramon, I feel like the conversation has shifted to how can we protect our players the best? That way they feel and play and look the best when we are actually asking them to play real football and not practice.
Yeah.
It feels like working smarter, not harder has gotten cool and kind of become trendy. Is that a good thing?
I think it is. Let me just start there first. But I also look at those method as a team-to-team basis as well. I think when you look at that Indiana team, unless I see more of it across the board, that team was more veteran. They've been together. They're probably smarter in their approach now. That on-field time also that they're taking away from the preserved as many steps and hits on the body as they possibly can. I do think there's a benefit to it if you're also mentally locked in and the game plans also match. And the other part about being able to practice and prepare that way too is what does your results say? It's easier for Indiana to be able to do it when they're undefeated. That method is working. It's working flawlessly for them. I do wonder moving forward in the 2026 season for a team like Indiana, will this be their method moving forward? Will it work out for the Vols if Derek Owens incorporates this into their training as well? There's a benefit to it, most definitely. You save hits on the body, but that needs to come with a more mature team, a team that understands practice habits, a team that doesn't mess up reps, and a team that is, again, I'll reiterate this part because I've been a part of teams that we weren't ready for practices like this because we take advantage of it. We look at it and pretty much say, man, this is a cake day today. We can go kick it, and, hey, we ain't really got to. Like, if you got this team that's watching film, you put them up on the big board and everybody knows what to do. The accountability part of it is there. Then yeah, this could work. But I would say this for a team like the Titans, in year one possibly, they might need more field time just to reset what Robert Saleh is as a coach.
Sure.
You gradually get to that point because here's what I would say. Towards year 7 and 8, when I was playing with Pittsburgh, we started cooking a little bit more. The starting O-line got a little bit less. Like, we went hard. The 7 plays we got out of a 16-play period, we went hard. But they give us off the next period to only give us 2 plays to let the young guys develop a little bit more, though, too. So it's a gradual ramp up to be able to get to that point. I think it was perfectly set for Indiana to actually practice and benefit from playing that way.
When I say all these things, I hope people don't think I'm saying that the Titans are making the same choice as Indiana. That's not at all what's happening.
No, you're right.
Those are in-season practices that are shorter, but maybe more focused and intense.
Very much.
In order to take advantage of freshness and all these things and still get work. Like, I'm comparing apples and oranges a little bit.
Yeah.
My point is this. It's becoming a positive now for teams to spend less time on the field and more time doing other stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's an interesting dynamic to follow as guys go from college, and I think that trend continues, to an NFL world where you are asked to do so much more.
Right.
Because there are no limits on how much, within reason, obviously, from the CBA and the Players Union stuff, there are way less restrictions on how much you can ask your guys to work. Yeah. I'm fascinated in how this whole narrative on practice and teams, I think, probably do a little bit less in college, starts to trickle up to professional players that are asked to then do way more. Yeah. Do teams start to make more decisions like the one Robert Saleh made with rookie minicamp to ask a little bit less? Because today's college player that's becoming a pro has a very different routine, a very different mindset, and is asked to do a lot different things than they did, I think, even pre-COVID 6 years ago.
You know what's fascinating? I know we're up against a break, but this is a more expanded conversation if you want to have it, because there's a lot that kind of goes into the incorporation of all this new information as well.
Right. We know more about these guys than we ever have before.
We do, but there's also more exposure to that too. One, I was at this too. Most college teams, they train together like maniacs before that time too. So most teams know where their guys are. The other part though too, Will, is with all this information. So you're right. The first time I ever saw the catapult vest was in college. NFL didn't even get it. We didn't get it in Pittsburgh until like year 9 or 10. Okay, for me. When everybody else had already had. If you see guys with those vests around their chest and stuff like that, that's what it's a GPS tracker. I remember when we incorporated it, we had a wide receiver at the time that was running about 5 miles of practice. And coaches were worried about, to your point, what is his wear down going to be later in the season? And it took a strong argument to get this player to sit down and practice, because he couldn't understand why I can't go practice the way I need to. And the coaches and the techs that was around running the catapult had to explain to him, you're fine now. But when October hits you, these 5 miles that you're running every day in practice is going to hit you like a tank. And they had to convince this player to slow down, take a few plays off. Instead of running 5 miles a day in practice, we're going to keep you at 2.8 for a stretch of 3 days. When your ramp up comes back up, you'll be ready. The other part, though, too, with the Whoop bracelet that guys wear and the information that goes, they're now doing sleep studies, and they're also being able to track the GPS. The only pushback I have on the GPS tracking, which is fine, they have a business to run, the NFL, is that information could be used later, in my personal opinion, to negotiate against you. If I could track you in year 7, Will, and said, and it's not just speed or distance.
Like, look how much slower you are now than you were when you were a rookie.
Will, they can tell your force off the line of scrimmage. I personally think in my last year, they saw my force off of my start and stops had dropped back. And I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Right.
But they can also say, we need to start looking for his replacement now, because according to year 8, his force off the ground was at a 9. His force off the ground in year 10 is a 6.
Well, in reality, I imagine for a lot of players, that's just, hey, I'm older and can't go 100% every day of practice anymore.
Very true.
I've got to be smarter in order to get the game day to be 100%. So let me go 75% of practice now. But then teams see that and say, wait a minute, you're not as fast as you used to be. Yeah, brother, because I'm 35 now. Of course, you want me to play like I'm 25 in the games, and I got to play like I'm 35 in practice.
Exactly. Yeah. Or that's where you pull back. He's not practicing Wednesday, Thursday. We'll see you on Friday. Because the other side of the league, too, is mentally. I know how to get through this better than this young rookie that you're going to bring in for 2 years.
I think to wrap a bow on it, the overall takeaway for Robert Saleh not having draft picks at rookie minicamp is this is a micro example of a coach who is willing to adapt.
Yeah.
He saw a first-round pick tear his ACL 11 years ago in rookie minicamp and made an adjustment. Mm-hmm. Doesn't always mean it's going to be the right adjustment. And to your point, I think sometimes teams have consequences of just paralysis of analysis, and they overanalyze things. But regardless of whether or not that's the right decision or the wrong one, you can debate till you're blue in the face. You have an example of Robert Saleh reassessing something that didn't work and doing things differently.
And he also saw Jermaine Johnson tear his Achilles as well in a game. Wasn't he the head?
Yeah, I think it's a little different.
But it was early in the season, but still. I wonder what the ramp-up was for him.
Sure. Coming up, an interesting update on Brendan Sorsby, the Texas Tech quarterback, kind of, who could soon be an NFL quarterback. We'll talk about it next. What's up? It's Will Boldig. Hey, maybe you're like me and you've already been dealing with those spring allergies that always pop up this time of year. Did you know that carpet is the #1 air filter in your home? It filters out those airborne particulates, the pollen, the bacteria, you name it. It also filters out all of that bad stuff, but you also have to keep your filter clean. Zero Res does this better than anybody in the area. That's because Zero Res has technology that's a little bit different. There's no harsh chemicals. There's no soap residue, faster dry times, and everything is going to stay cleaner longer with the ZR water from Zero Res, and they got deals for you as well. 3 carpeted rooms plus a hallway for $139 right now at ZeroResNashville.com. Call them at 615-535-9376. You won't believe how clean, how fresh that air feels in your home when you take care of those carpets with a deep clean from Zero Res. Book online at ZeroResNashville.com. That's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. And don't forget to ask about their air duct cleaning. Wrapping up the first half of the show here on Ramon and Will. 615-737-1045. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. Andy in Clarksville is next up on the phone this morning. What's up, Andy?
Morning, Andy.
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Talking about Tyrann Mathieu, Montgomery, he's actually getting a lot of free press, so he should like this. You know, whether he lands on the team or goes somewhere else, he's got free pub because that's all good. But I avoided social media this weekend just for mental health reasons. But I picked it up this morning, and I saw a retweet from somebody, some guy in sports talk radio in Chicago, who put Pirates of the Caribbean music to that clip because he said he looked like he was Captain Jack Sparrow running around.
I believe that. Everybody, of course, wants to slam dunk on something that's new or they're not familiar with or not seen it. So I get it, man. It's easy to run with that one because it seemed like the video was kind of sped up. Is the only pushback I have on it.
Thank you.
It's silly. It's fun. Hey.
It was fun.
When we're in this period of, not as much sports to talk about, you got to find something to talk about.
Yes, sir.
That's true.
If Jimmy Wyatt is, if he's verified on Twitter, he should get a nice check from that. With all those impressions on it.
Thank you for the call, Andy. Appreciate you.
Who'd ever thought an NFL drill would be the reason you go viral?
I don't think it was sped up, though. I think it was just normal speed.
If he was moving that quick, dang.
Yeah. No, he was.
He was?
He was.
That boy fast.
Now, Jim's not putting out fast motion videos.
That boy is fast.
He's just putting out regular practice clips.
No, that was actually pretty legit, though. It's fun. It's not. It's May.
Yeah, this is what we got right now. I mean, this is the moment of intrigue for the Titans. And look, I mean, for us, the reason we're spending time on this is because Carnell Tate didn't catch passes.
Right.
Keldrick Falk wasn't rushing the passer. Like, this is what the Titans chose to make rookie minicamp about, and that's their prerogative. I think it's interesting to see what practice is going to be like under Robert Saleh, and I think we got our first small glimpse of it. But this wasn't as much football practice as it was just a holistic tryout. Yes, football was played, and there were takeaways, but a lot of the takeaways are going to be about guys auditioning to be practice squad quarterbacks and players just auditioning to make the 90. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to go through the ins and outs of which DBs were catching my eye, like stuff like it just, we've got plenty of time. And there are people who that's their jobs, and that's fine. And Jim Wyatt has a great write-up at TennesseeTitans.com, and I'm not being critical of him doing that. Like, that's what you do when you write a notebook on what happens at practice. I just think it will become obviously more meaningful once these guys make the 90. And Jim knows that, and everybody writing those things know that. It's May.
It's May.
We've all got to keep our powder dry with all of these things.
Yeah, we
for
do.
Sure. So Brennan Sorsby might make a little bit of NFL history because no player has been selected in an NFL supplemental draft since 2019. He might be the first. Hiring notable attorney Jeffrey Kessler over the weekend, who was the lead attorney in the landmark House versus NCAA case, which was approved last June. So that ushered in revenue sharing in college sports. Brennan Sorsby is essentially trying to make the timeline go more quickly in order to find out what he's got to do. Adam Schefter said that over the weekend, that Sorsby could enter the NFL's supplemental draft. NCAA guidelines from 2023 on sports betting say that players potentially face permanent loss of collegiate eligibility in all sports when they engage in activities to influence the outcomes of their own games or knowingly provide information to individuals involved in sports betting activities. The fact that he was an Indiana quarterback and wagered on an Indiana game means that his college career is probably over.
Yeah.
Does he have any shot of sticking in the NFL with all this hanging over him too right now?
There's never a no, or there's never a never. But he's coming into the league with a very strong allegation against him as far as gambling. And if there's one thing that the league is adamant on, you get those emails. I get those emails. They send out betting awareness often. Roger Goodell personally sends those out about what are the rules and regulations of what players and staff and support can and can't do. this is the biggest black eye that you could possibly have. Like, I'd almost feel he'd have a better chance of getting drafted in a supplemental draft if he'd had a driving violation, or went to jail for a little bit, as opposed to the betting side, because you're coming into the league with this black eye on you. And one thing the NFL cannot tolerate is the integrity of the game being attacked because players are giving information or betting on the game as well. I'm not saying it's impossible that he doesn't have the talent, but I will also add this to it as well. He's coming from Cincinnati to going to Texas Tech. This year was big for him as far as his play and his prospect of being a draft pick going into next year. He can go into the supplemental draft. I personally wouldn't take the chance on him. I don't think he gets selected. If he does, cool. It'll probably end up being a later round selection for him that the team has to give up a future pick for. I wouldn't bet it. His best bet is to try to go UDFA and try to get into the league as quick as he possibly can, because I don't know if he's pro ready right now as well.
615-737-1045, our number. Robert Saleh with an interesting answer on one player's ability to quickly become a starter in his first season as a Titan that you'll hear next. Buying or selling real estate in Middle Tennessee is challenging. It's stressful, right? Bernie Gallerani guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. Yeah, that's a full guarantee. There's no risk to you. Bernie Gallerani will let you out of the contract at any time. He is the real estate agent with the 30-day guarantee to sell your home. And in a space where it's difficult to get guarantees, why wouldn't you go with something that you know and that you can trust? Well, you can trust Bernie because he is a local agent with years of experience serving Middle Tennesseans. He's not that big national agent that doesn't care about you or your goals, doesn't know the area. Bernie is going to make the process so easy for you in buying or selling your home. 615-428-2644 is his number. You can check him out online as well at BernieGallerani.com. That's 615-428-2644. Get the 30-day guarantee online at BernieGallerani.com. Credit card interest rates are now over 29%, and most people are only making the minimum payment, so they're getting nowhere. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Here's what many homeowners don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you could easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you could pay off your credit cards, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. And here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone. With zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long, drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at near 3-year lows, so act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. That's Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780, online at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
8:04. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. NBA playoffs over the weekend. 3 Game 7s. 2 teams completing the 3-1 series comeback on Saturday. The 76ers beating the Boston Celtics 109-100 behind Joel Embiid's 34 points and Tyrese Maxey's 30 points to complete that 3-1 comeback, beating the Celtics for the first time in the playoffs in 44 years. The 76ers now move on to play the Knicks in round 2 on Sunday night. The Pistons rout the Magic 116-94, completing their 3-1 comeback, and the Cavs beating the Raptors 114-102 in Game 7. The Pistons and Cavs have a round 2 matchup. In the NHL playoffs, the Canadiens take down the Lightning in Game 7 2-1. They advance to play the Buffalo Sabres in second round. And also in round 2, kicking off in high-scoring fashion in the Western Conference playoff race for the Avalanche and the Wild as the two sides combine for 15 goals. But Colorado takes Game 1 9-6. And Nashville Soccer Club, they earned a point in a scoreless draw Saturday night in Philadelphia against the Philadelphia Union. Next up for Nashville, they travel to Mexico Tuesday night in the second leg of the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinals against Tigres at 8:30 p.m. Central is the first kick. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the second half of the show. Ramon and Will streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. You can get your comments in there in the Effin and Beg chat. If you aren't subscribed yet to the 104.5 The Zone YouTube channel, we'd love it if you change that this morning. Easy to do. We're not going to show up at your door. You can pay extra for that, but not just for a subscription on the 104.5 The Zone YouTube channel. Coming up in 15 minutes, Nick Suss, the Tennessean, joins us. We'll get his thoughts and takes on what we learned from Titans coordinators, Robert Saleh, some rookies, and some practices that were held over the weekend for rookie minicamp. Going to talk a little bit more about Anthony Hill Jr. coming up at 9:20, Ramon, and how the rookie from Texas might be the most impactful rookie on the entire team. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Robert Saleh spoke over the weekend about how quickly his first-year linebacker can take over more responsibility on defense.
All these rookies are it's like drinking from a fire hose, so it's especially at the Mike linebacker spot where they're the quarterback of the defense, and so we're going to give him as much as he can handle and try to find that that balance between too much versus too little, and every player has a breaking point, and even Fred Warner, I had to go through. I've told the story many times that his second year against Arizona, it was a Thursday night game, and I put so much on his plate, and to this day, probably the worst game he's ever played in his career. And I realized I did that to him because of what I did to him with regards to all the different things I was asking him to do. And so we'll learn Anthony over the course of the next couple months. We'll learn Cody. We'll learn Moose. We'll learn Ced. We'll learn all of them. And whatever that balance is, we'll figure it out.
Moose, he refers to there, is Mahmoud Diabate, the former Cleveland Brown linebacker who is a part of the linebacker room as well, coming from the Browns to the Titans and a different kind of defense. How quickly, Ramon, in your eyes, should Anthony Hill Jr. be able to take over a full-time starting role in this defense? What's a realistic timeline there?
A realistic timeline? Heck, if he does get caught up quickly at his position, and you said we're going to have a deeper conversation about him at some point in time, Anthony Hill, but he's supported better, I think, of all the guys that are there, and for his development and as far as size and instinct and position flexibility and familiarity, he's supported better. He's better supported than Keldrick Falk, who's got to develop. He's better supported than Carnell Tate, who's got to have an offensive line and quarterback to get the ball to him as well. So it's not far-fetched that Anthony Hill Jr., specifically at that position, with a coach that understands how to pour into him, could be more successful. I'd put it up there week 1. You hear the guys he named out, and I'm not going to steal their thunder. I was listening to Blaine and Zach this past week. I give credit where credit's due. And Zach and Blaine was just like of the mindset. Now, this is a catchy moment if you go back and listen to Coach Sala talk right there. He mentioned Moose. He mentioned Anthony Hill. He mentioned Cedric. And he mentioned Cody. It seems to me it might be a competition between Moose and Anthony Hill Jr. at this point in time as far as who can be opening day starter.
Did not mention James Williams.
Did not mention James Williams. It's early in the offseason.
It is May.
It is May. James Williams was the leader in the clubhouse last year for a starting inside backer. But clearly you see who's at top of mind at least. And I'm sure if some reporter go and ask Coach Sala, well, where's James Williams? And he's going to have an answer for you. But again, we don't know what role he's going to play in that. But to your original point, I think Anthony Hill Jr. could mess around and be a week one starter. Will that upset you? Will you question it? I'd say no. Because again, the pedigree is there. He was high on some guys' boards. I know personally when it comes down to, him being one of the first backers to go, he wasn't, but he's got ability and he's better supported.
I think you could make an easy argument that Anthony Hill Jr. is equally as plug and play as Cardell Tate is on offense. Honestly, the difference is I have more to go off of with the people playing around Anthony Hill Jr. being better pros than Cardell Tate does, meaning a lot of Cardell Tate's success in the NFL is dependent on Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Thankfully for Anthony Hill Jr., a lot of his success is based around Jeffrey Simmons and John Franklin Myers.
Mm-hmm.
I think Anthony Hill Jr. is going to be a huge part of this defense right away. And I will say this, I think as a rookie in 2026, we are going to see more overall production from Anthony Hill Jr. than we will from Keldrick Falk. I don't think that makes the Keldrick Falk pick the wrong one. You don't pick players on one-year contracts. If you did, then Keldrick Falk probably isn't a first-round pick. But you pick these guys on 4 to 5 year contracts, right. And Anthony Hill Jr. has more projectable traits that can help this defense right away than Keldrick Falk does. Falk's going to come in right away and be a really good run stopper and a developing pass rusher. The Titans hope that by the end of his rookie deal and as he continues to work, he's as good of a pass rusher as he is a run stopper. Mm-hmm. And he's a guy that can give you 8 to 10 sacks and be essentially Danico Autry off the edge. That's kind of the type. You're looking for Eric Armstead. You're looking for Danico Autry. You're looking for maybe another form of DeForest Buckner, but a little bit more of an edge-focused DeForest Buckner based versus a D tackle. Anthony Hill Jr. is a player that's been a 2.5-year starter at Texas, is going to come right in and benefit from the big guys in front of him and from a system that allows him to get downhill quickly with the buckets of athleticism that he's got.
As long as he's cerebral enough to pick up this defense and at least be able to ingest and put out the calls, the adjustments, the checks, that a green dot. And I don't even know if he'll be in a green dot position. But if he's capable of doing all those things, well, shouldn't be no reason he wouldn't be on the field. And also, I want to add to the fact, too, I feel like when we speak about Keldrick Falk, it almost feels like we're covering for him in the sense of like, no, he's not going to be expectations are still high.
Yeah, right.
I think the conversation around everybody that's watched this game is to say this: he's going to take time. I don't want to remove expectations.
No. I'm not trying to.
And you're not. I just want to put that out there and be like, no, the expectations is for him to turn into a stud.
Well, and let me clarify what I mean then a little bit more, because you are right. I'm not trying to make excuses for Keldrick Falk. When I say production, I mean things that you can put on a stat sheet.
Yeah.
Most of the impact that I expect Keldrick Falk to have for the Tennessee Titans in 2026, I think are going to be things you can't put on a stat sheet. Does it make it right or wrong? Does it make it better or worse? I think Anthony Hill Jr. is going to fill up the stat sheet with tackles, with passes deflected, with an interception or two, with sacks, with TFLs. But Keldrick Falk is still going to help you win football games, potentially by setting an edge so that Anthony Hill Jr. can come in behind him and make a tackle. That means that both Keldrick Falk and Anthony Hill Jr. won on that given play, but Anthony Hill Jr. is the one that has something go on a stat sheet. That's the difference that I'm making, is that Keldrick Falk today is an edge setter. He is a run stopper. And this Titans defense, without a guy named T'Vondre Sweat in the D-line room anymore, to take up a seat and a half, and I say that respectfully because he's just a big dude. As Coach Mack said, we counting him as one human or two when he was drafted here. And there's value in that. As a space eater in the run game, the Titans needed to replace that. Part of the way they're replacing T'Vondre Sweat's run defending is with Keldrick Falk.
I got a perfect scenario. We just saw it in 2025. It's the 2025 Cleveland Browns draft picks. They picked Mason Graham, 5th overall D tackle.
There you go.
You know who's the second pick?
Carson Swessinger,
Linebacker.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
There we go.
Who got Defensive Rookie of the Year in part because Mason Graham was eating up blocks in front of him.
My brother.
Yeah.
There we go.
Only difference is that's a top 5 pick.
Yep, that's true.
Because when I'm picking somebody top 5, I need them to be more than just a space eater and a run stopper.
But that's his role, though. Still
is.
a success.
It is.
Still a success.
If your team wins on the given play, good teams aren't going to care about who specifically gets the credit.
Just like Ray Lewis winning Defensive Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken, he thanked his big boys up front, Goose, and all those guys up front that were clogging up the hole so he can run free and make plays like that. It works together.
It does.
Especially
Titanomics.
linebacker.
Up next. What's up, Titanomics?
What's up, Titanomics?
Good morning, gentlemen. Peace, love, and blessings. Thank
Yes,
y'all
sir.
for taking my call.
Yep.
Man, on this topic real quick, Anthony Hill, I think he's going to be our linebacker that gets sacks. Cedric Gray, he can stop the run, he can tackle, but he had 1 sack last year. And, of course, he was hurt the previous year, so he didn't have any. Anthony Hill can get to the quarterback and bring him down. My question for you guys is, who are you guys more optimistic about this season, offense or defense? Seeing Dayball's run an offense or seeing Salah and, I forgot the DC coordinator already.
Gus Bradley.
Gus Bradley.
Gus Bradley. Who are you more excited to see, offense or defense?
Thank you, Titanomics. Defense. Next question.
Offense for me.
Really?
I want to see an alive one finally.
Well, I would also like to see that, but I have more proven commodities, in my opinion, on defense, and I think they've put together a pretty dang good front 7.
They have.
And front 4 specifically as well. It's just there's so much more depth on defense right now.
I just want to see the offense, like, as much as we talked about Cam last year, like, I kind of want to see what it looks like with a play caller that has some history. Offense is giving them more weapons. It's offense for me, and we'll go deeper into that.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that. There's too much that needs to be proven that I've not seen yet from this new offensive line for me to say offense.
Understood.
Nick Suss of the Tennessean joins us next.
It's Ramon Foster, and I'm with Aaron from United Structure Systems. Man, they came by today to check out my house. If there's anything, any issues, small or big, you're going to fill us in there.
We can take care of it no matter what kind of problems. So first off, we'll just kind of take a look through your house and see what kind of issues you got going. You know, cracks in the brick, cracks in the drywall, weird spots in the floor, doors sticking, windows not opening properly. Once we identify those areas, we're going to do a thorough inspection around the outside, make sure there's no issues going on with that. And then once we look over it, we'll talk about what's going on, and hopefully we ain't got no issues, and then we'll go from there.
Let's go. Let's go.
Ms. Foster, so we have looked at the issues that you brought up. We had the drywall in the attic up here above your bonus or your garage. You had some doors sticking.
I did.
Going in your bathroom. So we've inspected all that. We don't see any major structural concerns. So you're going to be one of our lucky good news customers today. There is some minor deflection there. That's not an uncommon thing. As any house is built, it's its biggest and its strongest the day that it's born. Right? And from that point, it just gets older, just like us. We ain't hopping up out of bed, taking off down the hallway, running upstairs. And
Not protecting quarterbacks anymore.
No.
Opening up late. We're done.
Your guard ain't there no more.
Okay,
so.
I got you.
So it just happens. It gets a little older and it starts to deflect. Now, there are some things we can do to kind of help adjust those doors, mainly adjusting in the door, which we don't necessarily do, and maybe doing some light shimming in the crawl space down there to address those sticking doors. But for now, no major issues there. We did talk about the grading in the back and some issues that we can take care of back there for you. But that's pretty much up in a nutshell. No big issues and you're good to go. So.
Awesome. So again, the way you deal with United Structural Systems is it's upfront, it's honest, and now I can sleep peacefully at night, okay?
This is a different court, Blair. Same result, Slay. Oh, okay, Blair. See, that's Tyler Tanner. See, Tyler Tanner's in the house now.
Let's see what you got. Jury's out, Blair.
Blair, come on. Okay, Blair, just come sit down. Come on, Blair, stop. You're going to get hurt. Blair, get off the court. That's enough.
What's the verdict, Blair?
The courtroom is where I play ball. Boy, Durham, injury law, and that ain't got no roof.
Monday morning continues on Ramon and Will, hour number 3 of the program. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling, present and accounted for, joined by Nick Suss of the Tennessean, with rookie minicamp in the rear view from over the weekend. What's up, Nick? Good morning.
Morning, Nick.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy to be here, y'all.
What was your biggest takeaway other than a Jim Wyatt tweet that got 4 million views on social media? Was there anything of significance, Nick, that you saw over the weekend at the Vanderbilt Health Football Center?
I've been thinking about this. I'm pretty sure my takeaway is that being a professional football player is very difficult. And no matter how many people you try out, that does not make it look any easier to do.
It's fair. It's a good way to put it.
I don't know. If the question is, hey, could any of the people that were out there as UDFAs or rookie tryouts help the Titans as the 48th player on the roster on game day? The answer is maybe. Yeah. I mean, that's plausible. If the question is, can any of them truly be a difference maker in the National Football League, be one of the 10 players that actually wins and loses games? I'm a little more skeptical of that. But it was fun to get to see a lot of football happen, and I've missed it. And being outside watching football is cool. So I got to see that for 2 days, and I'm not going to complain about it.
Nick Suss, the Tennessean, with us. Nick, did we learn anything about the way a Robert Saleh practice is really run, or did this feel more like a one-off, a tryout, a chance to do something a little bit different for 50-some-odd players who are trying to create and facilitate their NFL dreams here in the beginning of May?
Yeah, it felt like a tryout period. It didn't feel like a full structured practice for a lot of reasons. I mean, I'm skeptical that that's what a practice would look like. It was a little bit disjointed. I imagine the Wyatt tweet you're referring to is the weird field day drill they were doing.
Yep.
I asked Bones about that after they did it the second day, and he was just like, yeah, we emptied the shed. Like, we threw a bunch of crap on the field and had some fun with it and saw how athletic these guys are. Like, this was not a fully structured up to the second planned type thing. And if it was planned to be an opportunity for guys to show how athletic they are, an opportunity for guys to show how they move in cleats, an opportunity for guys to be able to say, hey, I was pretty good back in the day. I had a tryout with an NFL team. And I don't know. I don't think there's any negativity in that. I don't think that you should have... I don't think you should have to hold yourself to the standards of what you'll be doing on July 31st, on May 1st. So, yeah, I think that it's telling how protective Saleh and this regime are of the draft picks. I think it's telling how protective they're going to be of making sure people are football ready before making them play football. I think there is some science to that, and I think there's rationale to that. But yeah, beyond that, it was very tough to draw conclusions. I mean, we get out there the first day, and maybe the first 45 minutes, there were only offensive and defensive linemen on the field. That's tough to read when nobody's in full pads. So I wouldn't necessarily expect a Saleh practice to look like that in regularity. But again, it's good to be around football.
That's music to Ramon Foster's ears, Nick.
Yes,
that's exactly what he wants to hear this morning.
I understood the practice perfectly, okay? There's a bunch of big men running around, Nick. Joined by Nick Suss of the Tennessean this morning. Nick, when you look at some of the veterans that were out there, Xavier Restrepo is a name that was top of mind for a lot of folks last year. Jimmy Wyatt reported, and others have too. It looked like he's kind of reshaped his body around. You see much of a difference in him and how he was moving or either leading the charge if you had the opportunity?
He caught some nice passes on that first day. I didn't see him as much on the second day. I can admit that I wasn't as tuned into him on the second day, but he made some nice plays in 7-on-7. He looked like he was better than the guys he was going against, which isn't much of a surprise. He's a guy who's been in the NFL for a year, and these are guys that were trying out for the NFL. But yeah, I don't necessarily think that again, it comes down to what we were talking about at the beginning of if Xavier Restrepo's on your active roster, he's on your active roster as your number 6 receiver. And that is not necessarily a knock on him so much as it is let's keep an eye on what actually wins games. And I struggle to think of a time that a number 6 receiver won or lost an NFL game. So whether that number 6 role goes to Restrepo or Bryce Oliver or Hal Presley or Tyron Montgomery or whichever guy you prefer, you're still going to have to remember, if everybody's healthy, if everybody's doing their jobs right, it's Carnell Tate, it's Calvin Ridley, it's Wan'Dale Robinson, it's Chim DK, it's Alec Iomanner. And then we get to talk about all the rest of these guys. And Mason Kinsey's still around, and there are guys who can compete for that number 6 spot, and that's awesome. But end of the day, if your number 6 receiver is out there catching passes, something has probably gone wrong.
Nick, you mentioned a lot of these guys being in tryout roles, and that's real, and that's an awesome thing for them. But, Nick, as a reporter and spectator of it as well, and I bring this up often because I think everybody look at these tryouts or people outside of the facilities with cardboard, signs like, hey, I deserve an opportunity to be a part of this team and I want to try out. Well, this is that weekend. Nick, do you see a difference in how the regular season looks as opposed to these young UDFAs who are trying out the level of talent is what I'm asking you. Do you notice a difference in it?
Yeah, I mean, I covered college football for a long time before I covered the NFL, and we were joking back and forth, and I'll leave names out of it, but we were joking back and forth of naming colleges and asking, would this group of tryout players beat College A? Wow. Would they beat College B? Yeah. And I was a little more optimistic about this group of tryout players being able to beat a cohesive team of college players, but would they have had a winning record in the SEC last year? I'm not necessarily the most positive about that, and that's not a disparagement here. These are guys who are trying out to make the NFL. They're good enough. They are good enough. But the collective level of talent did look more like when I used to cover the SEC than it did when you're out there in training camp. You're teaching these guys how to practice like pros. There's no quality control of universal college coaching measures. Some people come from places where college coaches are really, really good at teaching you how to practice like a pro. Some don't, and that's not a knock on any individual program. Just everybody's got different methods, everybody's got different practices, and they get to the NFL and now they have to practice the professional way. And some people are ahead, some people are behind, but it's not as much about talent. It's more about, for a lot of these guys, this is the first time they've ever been asked to do something like this, and it shows when they're learning on the fly.
Nick Sess of the Tennessean, our guest this morning, covering the Titans here on Ramon and Will. Nick, we're getting ready to do a bigger conversation about Anthony Hill Jr. coming up in our next hour. And I think if you were to pick one player that was brought in this offseason who perfectly embodies what their type is, it honestly might be him. How impactful do you expect him to be within this defense? I know you all in the media had a chance to meet with him, to talk with Gus Bradley about him, and as well with Robert Saleh. What does that role look like, you think, early in the 2026 season for Anthony Hill?
People keep trying to get me in trouble by asking me this question. Dang it. Look, I will separate my opinion. I'll give my opinion second. Reporter brain, logic brain here. Obviously, Saleh's defense favors athletic, versatile linebackers. And Saleh has been pretty insistent, and Borgonzi's been pretty insistent that there really isn't a difference between Mike, Sam, and Will. They want guys with similar traits. They want guys with repeatable traits. They want somebody who can go out and fly around and play unencumbered and play free and get to the line of scrimmage and break through the line of scrimmage. And I think Anthony Hill can do that. There is no knock on him, the player. I totally understand the investment in somebody who does exactly what this regime prefers at that position. Mm-hmm. My issue, I totally think it's unnecessary. I do not think middle linebackers matter that much. I think they are almost always the least important position of the 22 on the field at any given time. I think that especially when you're in a defense with Jeffrey Simmons and John Franklin Myers in the middle, presumably, you can almost always guarantee that the 3 men in the middle of the offensive line are going to be devoted to blocking those 2 players, which means you will almost never have a center or guard coming uphill to block a linebacker in the run game. So you will almost always have a free release, and if you are NFL caliber at linebacker, you should be able to size up a play when you have a free release and get downhill. I'm oversimplifying this, and I know I'm oversimplifying this, but in a league where, Ramon, you can tell people this, there maybe are 5 truly good cover linebackers in the NFL, and that might be a big number to estimate. You're pretty much saying, okay, if this guy is average at coverage and can get downhill when he's unblocked, he's going to get 100 tackles in this defense. And that's not to say that this is a bad investment. It's just to say I probably wouldn't have prioritized it with the 60th pick. He might go out and be a great player. He might be an NFL caliber Pro Bowler. But I looked this up, and we can talk about metrics and we can talk about analytics and how much we actually believe what the numbers say. But if you look at Bobby Wagner last year, who worked out as the best inside linebacker in the NFL by approximate value, which is a stat that Pro Football Reference uses, kind of like WAR in baseball or kind of like win shares in basketball. And if you look at the best inside linebacker in the NFL last year, that was equivalent in approximate value to the 24th best running back in the NFL. And we just spent an entire offseason arguing, but do running backs matter?
Wow.
And the best inside linebacker was as valuable as the 24th best running back. I'm dramatically oversimplifying things, but just my perspective, my worldview, it's not that this position doesn't matter. It's that you can find players to fill it, especially when you have such a strong defensive line, especially when you have a scheme that is so favorable and generous to these guys in the middle. I don't necessarily know if upgrading that spot was so much of an importance that the Titans needed to prioritize it over any of the other needs that they could have addressed at that range of the draft.
No doubt about it. With that being said as well, offensively, securing the right side of this offensive line, I'm not sure if they're going to make a move with JC, which I doubt going into this year. But the center guard conversation, how crucial is that for OTAs to kind of figure out what that's going to be, Nick?
Yeah, I think it's crucial. I think it's probably the biggest question left about the Titans, and I want to see these guys put pads on. I want to see how Pat Coogan develops. I want to see how Fernando Carmona develops. I want to see if these guys have the nasty streak the Titans seem to be saying they do. I want to see who Schlottman is. I want to see who Volson is. I want to see how Jackson Slater has taken a step forward. I do want to see what the options are here. I wrote pretty extensively about Pat Coogan last week. I do think he's a guy who just personality profile is exactly what the Titans like and what they want. So if he can emerge, I think they want him to. I think that the whole, my high school coach used to always love to yell about hard work beating talent when talent doesn't work hard enough. I think when you got to the NFL, everybody's got talent. So if you truly are that hard of a worker and that good of a leader and that good of somebody who can rising tide lift all boats and that sort of thing, that's what the Titans need. They need somebody like that. Just, does he have the talent? I want to see it. And with Carmona, he's a fifth-round guard, and you picked a fifth-round guard last year, and he wasn't ready. Is he more ready than the last guy? Is the last guy more ready than he was a year ago? Are either of them more ready than the free agent you signed who has 3 years of NFL starting experience? To me, that's a true competition, whereas with center, it's if Coogan can do it, you kind of have to let him try.
He is Nick Suss, covering the Tennessee Titans for the Tennessean at Nick Suss on Twitter, where you get his analysis. Great stuff as always, Nick. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Nick.
Yeah, happy y'all.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Nick Suss with us. I think bringing up a really interesting thing on linebacker value, and to his own admission, analytics like that and next level stuff is just that. It's a secondary source.
Yeah.
It is a part of the conversation. It's not the whole conversation. But I do think it's interesting considering the Titans not only made Anthony Hill Jr. their third pick in this draft and second round pick, they traded up and gave up capital to value that position so strongly that they gave up a lot to go get him.
They did. And I think it may be beauty in the eye of the beholder type of situations for Robert Saleh. Gus Bradley in this defense have always having that guy. I disagree. And like he said, that's his stance, and I respect the hell out of his stance because Nick made a heck of a case for, hey, the metrics say this doesn't matter. And I think it's more of a presence, a leadership, a cultural position more than it is value of making plays because he does make a point. The front four get busy in a Robert Saleh defense. The cleanup side of it is what Nick's talking about. You can find a marginal guy to play cleanup. But if you get a more talented cleanup guy, kind of pushes you over the top a little bit.
I want to talk more about this coming up at 9:20 because Anthony Hill Jr. fits the type. Where does type matter? How much does personality and leadership and culture and saying the right things matter? Because when you hear Anthony Hill Jr. talk, we're going to play you some of his press conference from over the weekend coming up at 9:20. It is easy to see why they fell in love with this guy. Really easy to see. So we'll talk about that and what the value is in terms of the off-field stuff, the other stuff, to go up and get a player like that. But coming up next, it is not every day that a record from the 19th century gets broken in sports. That happened yesterday, something that hasn't happened since 1892 for one of my favorite teams that we'll talk about coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. Good people, it's that time of the year where the weather gets a little crazy on you, man. Are you dealing with sinuses and you need something a little bit stronger than the over-the-counter stuff? Just for instance, that's where Medical House Calls can help you, good people. They're available to you 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, of course, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you've got an ongoing sickness or an infection that you know you have and you don't want to go to the doctor because, hey, you don't want to sit in the waiting room, well, guess what? Medical House Calls can help you in numerous different ways. One, by coming to see you. If you don't want to leave the house or go sit in the weight rooms, this is where this service is elite. I'm talking about A1. You call or text Medical House Call, and they will assess what you need within minutes. They can book you the same day up, depending upon your flexibility or next day guaranteed. Everything from sicknesses, infections, injuries, in-home labs, testing, and so much more. For a flat fee, you can get an evaluation, full exam, and prescriptions if you need them. This is a concierge to medicine. Listen to me. Simply head over to medicalhousecalls.com or call or text them at 615-838-2375.
Wrapping up hour 3 on Ramon and Will. So one of my teams is off to a record start, Ramon, and I love it when in baseball we get records broken from the 1800s. It's really the only sport that we have in this country where you can go back into the 19th century to talk about things. The Atlanta Braves yesterday finished off a sweep of the Colorado Rockies, 11-6, and are 25-10. That is the best start for the Atlanta Braves to a season since they were the Boston Bean Eaters back in 1892.
What?
The Boston Bean Eaters. The Boston Bean Eaters.
Hanging your hat on that. Yeah. Well, I got a name for us, the Boston Bean Eaters. Why?
Like, Johnny, your grandpa, he was a bean eater back in the day. What did you just call him?
It does sound slanderous, doesn't it? The Boston Bean Eaters. Hey, if it worked, it worked. They deserve to have their doggone records broken if that's the name you chose. But think times were more simple. That's all it was.
Prepare to be sick of me when it comes to baseball this summer. The Braves have an 8.5 game lead in the NL East. I think they could put the Gwinnett Stripers in for a month and still maintain a little bit of a lead in the NL East. 8.5 game lead in 35 games is diabolical. That is absolutely ridiculous. That the Braves pretty much already have the NL East won.
What's contributed to this?
Man, so it's interesting. Like, Austin Riley has started off really slowly. Ronald Acuna Jr. has been league average at best, and he's now on the 10-day IL with a grade 1 left hamstring strain. Half the pitching rotation's been hurt. Spencer Schwellenbach, Hurston Waldrop, and Spencer Strider haven't pitched at all. Strider pitched for the first time yesterday. Michael Harris, Ozzie Albies, and Matt Olson have essentially been the best hitters in baseball at their positions. Michael Harris is playing back at an all-star level the way he was as a rookie. Ozzie Albies had a contract year hitting over 300. Matt Olson leading the way in home runs. He's got 10 homers, first to double digits on the Braves. Michael Harris has got a quad injury right now. He's only pinch hitting and DHing every now and then to avoid going on the IL. But he is hitting over 300 at this point. Like, the Braves will just go find somebody, just a veteran who's like a one WAR player in their career. Like Dom Smith, who was nothing for the Mets, comes in and has a walk-off homer first week of the season. Yeah. Jorge Mateo, who was an awful hitter for the Orioles, comes in, is playing plus like level shortstop. And Mauricio Dubon, they got in a trade for shortstop Nick Allen, who was one of the worst hitters in baseball last year for a player that started most of the games for their team. Really good glove.
Yeah.
But Mauricio Dubon is essentially the regen of Martin Prado. Ball knowers will know who that is from back in the day for the Atlanta Braves, who played like every position on the field. Mauricio Dubon's one of the clutchest hitters in baseball so far this season and is an RBI machine. Like, they are just finding guys, just randomly places, who are dudes. And that's what the Atlanta Braves do. They just find ways to win. Last year they were down, and they look like as good as they've looked in the last 10 years so far to start this season.
I was just going to ask you, is this the World Series reset right here where they didn't get far away from it and just now, like you said, went out and found the appropriate players to kind of push this back over the top? Other part, though, too, I would add to, you mentioned those batting averages that they have as well right now, too. That's down. I feel like with the little sample size I've seen of MLB like ball right now, the stars are hitting 239. Some of them are just above 200. And you mean to tell me y'all got 4 guys in the threes?
I just think it comes down to who are the stars now. You're kind of seeing a little bit of a changing of the guard from the Bryce Harpers of the world to the, I don't know. I mean, Aaron Judge is kind of in the middle of it. It's going from Mike Trout to Ohtani as the best player in the sport.
Right.
You just kind of have a new generation of player right now. Like, household names are changing in baseball at the moment. The Braves right now lead the league in batting average, RBIs, hits, runs, slugging, OPS, and pitching staff wins.
Wow.
So far this season. It's still the Dodgers and everyone else, but I think there's a very real world where Atlanta ends up with the best record in baseball because LA has got to play San Diego. And LA's got a much tougher division. Braves are the only team in the NL East above 500 right now. The Marlins are in second right now. And the lowly Mets are bringing up the rear.
All right. Yeah, they've kind of folded.
They're
so
terrible. Really breaks my heart.
Sel, if you listening, man, your squad got to get it together. They do this every other year, man. What's crazy, they spend all kind of money on free agency, too. They've done it from pitching.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're not far behind the Dodgers in terms of overall spend.
And nobody speaks about it other than, well, I guess they don't give anybody any hope to speak about it.
They're speaking about it in New York, don't worry.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just not a good look.
But it's good to see the Braves back at it. They've become fun again. They were not good last year. And, I mean, half the guys I just mentioned who are just absolutely on a tear this year could not be bothered to have any level of consistency a year ago. Ozzie wasn't good, and he was hurt.
Yeah.
Michael Harris has been slumping since his rookie year a couple of years back, and Matt Olson's been consistent. And, I mean, at this point, Matt Olson has been an upgrade on Freddie Freeman from when he left in the 2022 season. Olson's the best hitting first baseman right now in the NL, but it's been fun. It's been fun to be locked in on Major League Baseball again because the Braves are off to their best start since they were the Boston Bean Eaters, which I just think is the funniest thing, that there was a team named the Boston Bean Eaters, and I cheer for the same franchise.
The Boston Bean Eaters.
They're appointment television. This weekend, Braves-Dodgers, too.
I don't want to. Braves-Dodgers?
Really? The upcoming weekend.
Oh, that's right, because didn't we have somebody who was a Dodgers fan that won tickets later this year?
That's later at home. I think that's in September, but Braves are at Dodger Stadium or whatever the heck it's called now. They got some new weird sponsor on the front of it. The Braves are at Dodger Stadium this weekend to take on LA after they play Seattle tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday.
You were just bragging on this. Well, we were talking about NBA a little while ago. They just had breaking news as well. Orlando Magic's fired their coach, man.
Orlando Magic.
Jamal Mosley, who the TV broadcast was bragging on you last night. That's probably a true telltale sign right there. When people start bragging on you like that, you're probably about to get fired. Duly noted right there as a little shape-up is happening across the NBA land.
Talk some soccer coming up next as we continue into hour number 4. Another big week begins for Nashville SC, who picked up a point over the weekend. We'll talk about it next. Hey, it's Will Bowling for my friends at Brentwood Jewelry. Hey, Brentwood Jewelry makes finding the perfect Mother's Day gift really easy. Celebrate mom with a beautiful custom piece from Brentwood Jewelry. Create a custom necklace, ring, or bracelet that represents your family and the love you have for mom. If you're looking for something more traditional, select a premier timepiece from their robust watch collection for her to wear every day. Brentwood Jewelry has the new GK Milanese Mesh collection. This bracelet collection is a testament to sophistication and style. It's a perfect piece for everyday wear. They also have a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and more already designed and ready to wrap up and give to mom. Moms are irreplaceable, so let her know how much she means to you this Mother's Day. Online at BrentwoodJewelry.com, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road at 7012 Church Street East. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. Shop local at Brentwood Jewelry, your family-owned and operated jewelry store for over 50 years.
9:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. NBA playoffs this weekend, 3 Game 7s, 2 teams completing that series comeback from down 3-1. Saturday, the 76ers do it, beating the Celtics 109-100. And they beat the Celtics for the first time in the playoffs in 44 years. The 76ers move on to play the New York Knicks in round 2. On Sunday night, the Pistons rout the Magic 116-94. They complete their 3-1 series comeback, and they'll play the Cavaliers, who beat the Raptors 114-102 in Game 7. In the NHL playoffs over the weekend, the Canadiens take down the Lightning in Game 7 yesterday, 2-1, and they advance to play the Buffalo Sabres in the second round. And round 2 kicked off in high-scoring fashion for the Avalanche and Wild as the two sides combined for 15 goals. But Colorado takes Game 1, 9-6. And Nashville Soccer Club, they earned a point in a scoreless draw Saturday night against the Philadelphia Union. Next up, Nashville travels to Mexico, taking on Tigres Tuesday night in the second leg of the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinals. 8:30 is the kickoff. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of the show, getting started on Ramon and Will. Glad you're with us as we continue to talk Titans and NFL offseason notes coming up in 15 minutes. There is a player, I think, Ramon, who perfectly embodies the Titans type and who is about to quickly become a fan favorite. And we'll talk about that coming up here at 9:20. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045. And your thoughts, musings, quandaries in the F&M Bank chat. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We've talked a little bit of football, of course. A little hoops, a little baseball. Let's take it to the pitch.
Come on.
A little bit of soccer this morning as well. Nashville SC picked up a point at Subaru Park in Chester, Pennsylvania. A scoreless draw against the Philadelphia Union over the weekend. Brian Schwacke made 5 saves for his 5th MLS clean sheet, his 10th in all competitions so far in 2026. And another big week begins for the boys in gold, who are in the middle of a stretch of 7 matches in 23 days. Tomorrow night, they play Tigres at 8:30 p.m. in Monterrey in the second leg of the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinal. With Saturday's draw, Brian Schwacke becomes the 6th goalkeeper in MLS history to help secure 23 or more points in his first 10 career league starts. That is mighty impressive for the man between the sticks. And the best news is that Miami squandered a 3-0 lead and lost 4-3 at home and is winless in 4 in their new stadium. Nashville extended its lead to 4 points on the rest of the Eastern Conference by picking up a point in Philadelphia over the weekend.
Not only is Nashville SC cooking, but they're baking and also mixing as well, is what you're telling me, Will. There's a lot of momentum behind this team. I asked you earlier this season, too, when it first started. It's like, how sustainable is this? What does this offense look like? How, progressive and aggressive can they be continually, Will? And they hadn't slowed down. That is the uniqueness of what they got going on. And even, I had questions about how did they gain a point in a 0-0 match. I guess that's for me to figure out and get a little bit more savvy on my soccer side of it. But
a draw is 1 point.
A draw contributes to you not losing, basically.
A draw is 1 point in the standings.
Okay,
yep.
Got you.
Yep.
Hot is what I would say to you. I'm eager to get back to Geodis to see another game.
NSC made 6 changes to the team that lost 1-0 to Tigres last Tuesday. I saw a lot of different faces in there. BJ Callahan did mention after the game that Sam Surridge and Eddie Taxith don't just have day or 2 injuries.
Yeah.
Essentially what he said. So just from what he said there, I'd be surprised to see Eddie Taxith or Sam Surridge play a part tomorrow night in Mexico.
Okay.
Against Tigres. I think you're probably going to have to find a way to get through to the final without them at this point, which is a huge blow to Nashville. But they've proven that they can change the names and faces and numbers in the lineup and still have the same success and still get results. It's just going to be really difficult to do that against Tigres. I think right now, though, for Nashville, you mentioned the sustainability of all of this. They're making a little bit of history by being as solid as they are at the moment and competing in the Champions Cup semifinal. Ben Wright at 615 Soccer had a note about this that I want to give him credit for. Nashville is the second MLS team ever in the modern era of the Champions Cup to be in the semifinal and also simultaneously be first in their conference. It's only been done one other time, and it was Vancouver last year.
Vancouver?
Mm-hmm.
They do soccer like that?
They do. Vancouver's very good.
Man, a tip of the cap to them again. Been a bright spot this year as far as Nashville sports go and just representing MLS in general. The CONCACAF still in range too, Will, as well?
Yeah, just down 1-0.
Just down 1-0. So,
it's essentially halftime of a two-leg series.
No doubt. And the cool part is you got the stars that are supposed to be stepping up like Ani Mukhtar, but also the amount of young guys. You mentioned last time we spoke about this. I forget who it was you was just saying, but like he's progress. I forget who it was that scored the goal.
There's a bunch of them. Ahmed Kassem is what we were talking about last week.
Yeah. How he's progressed over the course of the year and adjusted to the new scheme or system that he's playing in. Again, when you got a buy-in from everybody, that right there, again, leads to these type of moments. And the build-up to get here also is kind of cool to watch.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the front line that Nashville started over the weekend against Philadelphia had a 21-year-old in Warren Madrigal, a 24-year-old striker in Woobens Passius. You had Kassem, who is 22. And then you had Shaq Muhammad, who made his first career MLS start, and he's 22. Oh, yeah. So the average age of your front four against Philadelphia was 22 years old, and you still didn't lose the game. That's a win. I know it's not a dub in the win column. It is just a draw and a point against a Philadelphia team that struggled this year. But you look at a lot of the metrics, look at a lot of the numbers. Philadelphia is creating chances. Philadelphia is a team that I think is going to get things figured out. They're the best example, Ramon, of what typically happens when teams are in these two competitions at the same time. Yeah. So last year, Philadelphia won the regular season title in MLS called the Supporters Shield. Okay. This year, they started the year 0-6. They're the first ever team to win the regular season title and start the next year with 6 consecutive losses. Well, they had to also play Club America. And they played Defense Force, another team from North America that allowed them to continue to advance in Champions Cup. And they really struggled in MLS regular season play. They are last place right now in the Eastern Conference. Well, now that competition is over, you're starting to see them put more of their first-choice players and their starters in the lineup for MLS matches. It hasn't totally clicked yet, but they look better. They look more competent at this point. Nashville saw them in a moment where Philadelphia is more focused on MLS. Nashville's battling on all fronts and trying to do multiple things at once. So tomorrow's going to be interesting. Nashville came in feeling confident, as they should, about their chances against Tigres. And Tigres provides such a big challenge, and Mexican teams are able to build up their roster with more resources than what's allowed for MLS teams with the rules that they have to navigate. So you are at an inherent disadvantage. That being said, you get to the semifinal and you knock off some of the teams that Nashville's already knocked off, you got a shot. All bets are off. 1 goal, and this thing is tied and changes dramatically. 2 goals, and you're feeling really good about yourself and your chances to make the CONCACAF Champions Cup final, which would be the biggest thing that this team has ever achieved. And the way this league is set up is the biggest thing that anyone can achieve.
Right.
Making the Continental Championship. You're right at the doorstep of playing for a North American Championship, North and Central American Championship. That would be a monumental moment, not only for Nashville's history, but for the history of MLS, because only one MLS team has ever won this tournament in its history, and that was Seattle a couple of years ago.
Hearing you call them Defense Force sounds like a branch of the military, too, by the way.
Sure. You want to guess where Defense Force is from?
D.C.?
Defense Force is in Trinidad and Tobago.
I'm here for it.
Trinidadian club.
I'm here for it. That works for me.
Justin, who do we have on the phone here? Who is this?
6'1". He's calling from his truck. He
That's
wasn't
6'15".
No, just 6'1".
6'1". I'm here for it.
Interesting name.
He's probably 6'3".
Good morning.
Hello,
Good morning,
6'1".
Good morning, 6'1".
Man, I listen to you guys on my way to work every morning. I appreciate sports in the morning. That's my coffee. So I want to thank y'all for that.
Love that.
But I did want to just talk about the Titans and the direction that they're going. I think Salaganzi, I think they're doing a great job with the direction of the team. And I don't think I've heard a lot of Nashvillians, a lot of Tennesseans calling in about whether they're optimistic, whether they're disappointed. Well, I'm calling to say that I'm very optimistic. I'm excited. I'm going to go ahead and go on record to say that I predict this team to have a winning record this season. Also, they're the second coming. Let's say this. I'm going to even say this. They will be the second coming of the Titans of old, where you had McNair, George, you had the Freak, you had Frank Wycheck. I believe this team is looking in that direction with the new regime, and Salaganzi will be the cause of it.
Okay.
6'1", I got a couple questions for you real quick. Number one, how long you been sitting on Salaganzi? Because Ron Slay in the chat said that's kind of cold-blooded right there, just so you know it's a cold name right there. How long you been holding on to it?
It came to me last week.
There it is. Second question.
I've been trying to figure it out.
You sitting pretty much in our combine room right now. Give us your height, size, 40 time as well, since you call yourself 6'1". What's our 40? Is that your 40 time? Because it's slower than mine, or is that your height? Which one is it?
That's the height, man.
Okay.
That's the height.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
6'1". They said great call on that one, man. It was real good.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you, 6'1".
They called me 5'11".
It didn't work, but it did. 5'11", man. It seems like we got to go to break here in a minute. 5'11". That don't roll like 6'1". 6'1" is cool. 6'1" is cool.
I like the optimism. I'm cautious to compare anyone to Steve McNair and Eddie George or Javon Curse.
Hawk had a better one, and he let it slide. And I'm letting you know.
You saved the good stuff for him behind the scenes. Save the good stuff on there.
I thought about it too late. They called Diego Pavia 5'1".
That's what he should have led with. That's what he should have led with. That's your one, Hawk.
Yeah, that was
They come to be too late.
That's what you chime in with right there.
Yeah. Come on. Savage gave you a 1 out of 10.
A 5-1 out of 10, one might say.
5'11".
I think we're going to talk about Anthony Hill, who's 5'3" next.
He's not 5'3".
His number is.
Oh, well, okay. All right. We're not talking about numbers. We're talking about height. Come on. What are we doing?
As soon as he get us in the net. As soon as he get us in the net and almost in the boat, man, the net breaks every time, Hawk. We were there.
There's not real analysis we're going to do after that. We'll talk about the Titans rookie who perfectly embodies the new era of Titans football next.
Oh, my gosh. We are back. Jayhawk needs a little bit of foundation on this one as well. We'll get there, man, but when you start noticing cracks in your walls, not your jokes, but uneven floors, the driveway sinking and separating, is more than a home issue, y'all. It's a peace of mind issue. That's why who you choose for foundation repair and concrete leveling really matters, man. And with me, I trust United Structural Systems because they've been doing this the right way since 1994. Right here in Tennessee, USS doesn't believe in quick fixes or scare tactics at all. They take the time to inspect, explain what's happening, and walk you through real proven solutions that are built to last. Whether your home needs foundation stabilization, crawl space repair, or concrete leveling for sinking walls, patios, or driveways, USS uses engineered systems designed for long-term performance, not temporary patches at all. From the initial inspection to the final repair, USS listens. They educate. They deliver results you can trust so you can feel confident your home is safe today and protected for the future. With decades of experience and thousands of homes repaired, you can trust United Structural System is here to stay and here today as well. USS is introducing also 24 months, no interest financing options, good now through the end of June. You can learn more, schedule your inspection at USSTN.com. Committed to our customers, invested in what matters most. We are USS.
All right, hour 4 of Ramon and Will continues. Sometimes we say things about how we learn about stuff and that we were today years old on. I didn't describe that well. Here we go. Ramon and Will, hour number 4 continues here on 104.5 The Zone. I was today years old when I learned something this morning about an NFL logo. Did y'all know that the Carolina Panthers logo is the outline of South Carolina and North Carolina on top of each other in the form of a panther?
Yeah, right.
I never knew this. Okay, I feel better now not knowing this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So if you look at it, there's an outline here. You see, I'll show it on the F&M Bank chat, 104.5 The Zone TV. You see it?
Yes.
Can the camera see this, Justin? It's the two Carolinas.
Go to your left.
The heck?
There you go.
What the heck?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's it. I never knew this.
I did it.
I feel like I respect that logo a lot more now because I feel like it's kind of a mid logo.
And they are the Carolina Panthers represented by both.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Somebody in the chat would be like, "You idiot. You didn't know that?"
I did not know that.
Yeah, no one knew that.
Played against them, rooted for them. Cam Newton era, don't matter. Thomas A, don't matter. This never came across my desk.
It's pretty cool. Anyway, the more you know.
Doggone sweet. Well,
learn something new every day.
The more you know.
Tune in for more informational NFL.
Look at Darius. Will, that's crazy you didn't know that. Darius.
Yeah, classic. Classic. Oh, sorry. My bad. Oh, no, hey, my fault, big bro. That's on me. You didn't know that either.
I feel like we're just now learning about the Wendy's logos, hidden logos. FedEx is another one I think that's got hidden logos in it or whatever. Darius also made a point. It's like, I'm that guy. It's cool. It's cool. But yeah, I had no idea that they were the two states together.
Before we get back to Titans, we go back to the phone. Drew is in McMinnville up next. What's up, Drew?
What's up, Drew?
What's up, fellas? Y'all doing all right this morning?
We're great.
Good, man. Good morning.
Will, morning, y'all. Will, you touched on something near and dear to my heart. I knew I messed with you, man. Hey, go Braves,
yes,
baby.
sir. Come on now.
You left the name off the list, though. That's all we call him is Rake Baldwin. That kid, all he does is hit,
that's
man. If Rookie of the Year, come out on fire. I love the Braves, man. I've been a Braves fan my whole life. My grandpa got me into that. God rest his soul. He died last July. But, man, I love the Braves. Chris Sale is dominating.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that we're going into the Dodgers series without Ronald, but maybe he can take this little time and kind of get right. But, yeah, dude, I love the Braves. We're getting contributions from everywhere. Jonah Heim went off yesterday.
That's crazy.
Dubon is hitting the ball good.
Yeah.
And he's just a gold glove caliber player that you can put anywhere on the field.
Sure.
Eli White's having a good season. And then we finna get Sean Murphy back, Ha-Seong Kim back. Strider came back. Swellenbach hopefully makes it back, dude. We're the Braves. And the best part about it is the Phillies and Mets suck.
That's absolutely the best part about it. Absolutely.
Hey, Drew, you sound just like Will in here on break, man. The hate y'all have for them.
Braves,
and
man.
you said it in the right order.
The Titans and the Balls.
You said it in the.
I love the Titans and the Balls.
I'm with you. You said it in the right order too. Phillies and Mets, because Phillies are our main fish to fry, always.
Yeah, they suck. I hate the Phillies. I hate the Mets. They both suck. They spend all that money and you still suck. So have fun with that.
That's exactly right. Hey, me and you, Drew.
Listen,
me and you against the world, Drew. I'm with you.
I don't know if he said they suck.
No, they
Thank you for the call. We appreciate you, Drew.
Like a broken jaw with a straw. That's how bad they suck, is what you're telling me.
Love that.
Golly.
Love that.
I've never seen you unite with a caller so eloquently, man. It's flawless.
Thank you. This is why we chop.
You got hate. Then you finish up like that. I got nothing.
That was the old slogan. This is why we chop.
This is why we hire.
Chop on.
We're not going to do that. Okay, never mind.
Drake Baldwin, what did you say?
I was saying, this is why we're hot. This
is why we chop. This is why we chop. I'm so
Don't let
white.
me ruin it.
Drake Baldwin leads baseball in hits, runs, and at bats. He's got a 909 OPS. I did just buy his City Connect jersey because those new powder blues are sweet.
Oh, you purchasing merch?
I've not bought a baseball jersey in a long time.
Me either.
But they're he's good enough, and those jerseys are cool enough to where I had to get back in. Get some action.
This is why we chop.
That's right. That's exactly right. Slay in the chat says we should have a brave-off between Will and Zeph. The tiebreaker is I'm cheering for my home country's baseball team. And so as an American, I'm able to have a closer connection to one of the biggest brands in Major League Baseball. Zeph and his country of Canada, they've got the Toronto Blue Jays to cheer for. So it's a little different for those of us that have the American passport and, have been born and raised in the South and, the team of the South. And I've got the Georgia family and I've got Knoxville family. This is the one team my whole family agrees on and cheers for between my Georgia and Tennessee people in my extended family. So, I respect Zeph coming from the North and being so willing, so willing to be a Braves fan. So it's a little different for those of us who are from down here.
Which is why he's so eager to talk about and tell you how much he knows.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I'm with you, man. You got to call him out and keep him on that side. And Zeph, like the little new Braves fan, you know what he need to be doing? You need to be trying to make sure Alyssa get the nourishment that she needs since he don't want to take her out on a date. Oh, my gosh. I didn't tell you guys about this. I did their show, and she wanted watermelon. He tells her, well, your mom just bought cantaloupe. She didn't ask for cantaloupe. She wanted a watermelon. Send him back up there to Toronto, man, and bring back a watermelon. Bring a Canadian watermelon
up in Toronto? What are we talking about?
Saying. Like, what are we doing here?
Happy wife, happy life.
True Braves fan, Will Bolin.
Yeah, that's right.
Poser.
That's exactly right.
Joseph. Little Joe.
Hey, Zeph. Slay in the chat says, I'm riding with Will on this one. I apologize. You know what? And that's all right. That's quite all right.
He said, that's my fault. Damn, you right. He ain't up to rebuttal, so we're good to go. Keep rolling, Will.
All right, so we got David on Twitter says, yes, come on with the Braves talk. And David, we got you, man. We're the best team in baseball.
So when the Nashville Stars get here, y'all Braves ain't gonna have to. No, that's what Zeph. Zeph would be the mascot for that.
If the Nashville Stars get here.
I'm saying when.
I'm not saying when yet. I'll say if the Nashville Stars get here. I'd love for them to get here. I'm pro baseball in all contexts.
I'm saying when.
No doubt about it. All right, let's talk about Anthony Hill. This guy is going to be a fan favorite pretty quickly, Ramon.
I think so.
Titans linebacker, second-round pick. They traded up to go get him. He is going to wear number 53. And he spoke about that when speaking to the media during rookie minicamp availability over the weekend.
That was one of the only numbers open, but then I did some research on a number, and I seen there was a legendary linebacker that wore it. So now, I got to hold up to the tradition. So I'm going to just try to work hard every day and try to just reach the level that he reached.
That's Keith Bullock.
Yep.
Have you had a conversation with Keith?
Not yet. I hope to kind of connect with him, get to talk with him, but now I'm rocking his number now, so I got to connect with him and see what he's all about, watch some highlights, and kind of get a good feel for him.
Anthony Hill Jr.
Appreciate that.
Another answer on what his role will look like in the Titans defense.
Right now, I kind of been focused on some Mike and Will, so just kind of trying to learn and understand my role within the defense and kind of get further in as we get further. So just kind of try to learn the details and learn what they're telling me to just hone in on my job so then I can kind of help and communicate and help the people around me.
Is what you're learning to what you had to do at Texas?
It's pretty similar. It's like it has some similarities. It's a little different. So just trying to take recall and kind of understand what I did in the past to kind of help me right now.
And then one more from Anthony Hill. I always love these answers from players as you kind of get to know them. And Teron Davenport asked the question, what is your why on why you love football?
I just love football. I grew up playing Madden. I grew up watching all those guys and watching Bobby Wagner, watching some of the guys he coached. So I just love football just from the way how it treated me in the past. Like where I am now, I just love football and I just love how it treated me.
What do you remember about the scouting report on Carnell when you guys played Ohio State at the start of the year? Did you guys cross paths at all on the field? Do you remember any plays where you?
I'll never forget that touchdown he had on us. The kind of, I think it was 7-7. He had that double move in the back of the end zone. It was a contested catch. Like from him, I'm watching film and seeing from him his contested catches is crazy. He doesn't really drop the ball. He's a long guy. He's a big guy. So I'm excited to kind of see him on the field. I've been playing against him the last 2 years, so I'm excited to be on his team now.
Anthony Hill Jr.
You boy.
New Titans linebacker. Now, one thing's for sure. You don't trade up for players. You don't draft players just because they're good quotes and good talkers. So that's not the point I'm trying to make. However, Ramon, if you want the perfect picture of the Titans type, look no further than Anthony Hill Jr., a productive player at a high major program coming from Texas, who acts like, talks like, and has just overall athleticism like the kind of Titan that I think Mike Borgonzi wants. I like this guy. I like the first impression he's made. I think he's going to have a really big impact in 2026 because I think he'll go earn it.
Yeah.
And I think he's got the skills and the tools to make the most of an early opportunity to play for Robert Saleh's defense.
It's cool, though, too, because you hear the eagerness in his voice. You hear also in his explanations, he's been thorough about how he's approaching being a part of it and the media, too. Because, again, when he mentioned the number, I thought it was fascinating. They was like, no, I looked up the number, pretty much did his research on Keith Bulluck, and hopefully gets a better understanding of Bully. And here's the thing. I don't think Keith Bulluck would add any pressure to him having his number. I think there's more pressure with what Bully's left behind as far as being able to wear the red gloves and red cleats. That, to me, is significant. How he represents the number falls on Anthony Hill Jr., but being able to tap in with Bully and understand what being a linebacker here in Nashville, Tennessee is huge. I do think they will connect. I hope they do anyway, and I don't think Keith Bulluck will be opposed to it. But his approach to the game is it sounds good. Learning two positions, Mike and Will, I think is we'll see what those roles look like for him as well. But you can tell this. He's a guy that I feel like if you talk to him in the meetings that they had him at the combine on these 30 visits, you'd understand what type of guy he is. I think he's going to be very transparent. Now, all of that needs to translate over to the game.
I think linebacker is in a really interesting spot in the NFL right now.
Overall?
And yeah, I think so. Because I think it is becoming devalued in the same way running back has become so devalued. The fact that you can go get one of the best linebackers in the NFL this past offseason on a 3-year, $45 million contract. And that's the deal that Devin Lloyd got to go from the Jacksonville Jaguars to the Carolina Panthers. Tells you that the league feels like linebackers are replaceable. Oh, I don't need to go pay $15 million to keep mine. Let me go find a new one. Let me go find another one. And that being said as well, I don't need to go draft one in the first round when I can go find one in the back of the second. The Titans made a conscious choice. Yeah. They valued the impact Carnell Tate could have on their football team over the impact that Sonny Styles could have on their football team. And Arvell Reese, who I think they viewed more as a chess piece, as an inside linebacker that could move everywhere, not just an edge that had that kind of Micah Parsons-like skill set. So for you, Ramon, how does a good middle linebacker impact your game plan as an offensive lineman, as an offense as a whole? Because we just had Nick Suss on at 820. He made the point from an analytical perspective that in terms of numbers, linebackers aren't very valuable. And to his point and his rationale, you can listen to his whole argument on the Zone Podcast Network. A team that has to block Jeffrey Simmons and John Franklin Myers is going to be focused on those guys first before they could even think about getting to the second level, meaning that there are a lot of second-level players that would have success playing linebacker behind Jeffrey Simmons and John Franklin Myers. Nick even admitted that's an oversimplification. He says, I know it's more complicated than that, but the larger point has some validity to it from a value perspective. How does a good middle linebacker make your life different, Ramon, as an interior offensive lineman in the NFL?
It creates chaos directly in front of you and on the side as you as well. The good linebackers that you know we got to go get to this guy makes an easier day for the defensive line. Because we're talking about combination blocks where it's guard centers or center tackles or tackle tight ends having to get up to the second level. The good ones that you see know how to get downhill, evade blocks and stuff like that. Well, it'll create anxiety for you and the guys that you're blocking on the first level because you're thinking, we got to get to the back door. Well, next thing you know, one of you leave early, the D-line, slide behind you and make a TFL. Those are the types of things they do for you, too. It creates an inability to get physical because those guys are coming downhill faster than you can get uphill with them as well. And it muddies the waters within the first 2 or 3 yards of the line of scrimmage when those guys are that good at their jobs. And just not just against the run game. Let's go to the passing game where those dudes can be elusive enough to where they can line up at the line of scrimmage, create all kind of, like I'd like to use this word because there is a lot of it, anxiety on who's the mic, where is he going? Did they switch coverages as well? Is this guy dropping to this guy coming? The conversation, if you have an inexperienced line up front or quarterback that doesn't understand, i.e. what Cam Ward dealt with last year with the way I think game 1, Denver came at him, created that confusion up front, it makes you as an offense have to be on your job from play 1 to play 65 of the game. And those teams that have good ones will, it may be minimized, but the people that are on the field playing against them understand the roles that they're in. You can be in a simple defensive coverage, and it's a linebacker breaking up a pass when he's not supposed to. Well, where did this guy come from? It makes you change your game plan over the middle or at the line of scrimmage by what those guys are capable of. That, to me, is why I won't minimize it either. I can't minimize linebacker.
I don't think you can measure value super fairly for an inside linebacker that gets the other 10 guys lined up in the right spot. That's what I think is interesting for that position specifically. So much of that value isn't numerical.
No.
If you have someone that makes the proper checks, understands tendencies, when a quarterback motions his back from his right hip to his left.
Yes.
Or brings a slot receiver in kind of that zipper motion to understand what's coming. The play recognition part of it, I think, is where linebackers have so much value. The question then becomes for Anthony Hill Jr., how quickly can you start to play chess with opposing quarterbacks? How quickly can you start to understand things? There's that viral clip of Cam Newton who, as he's making checks at the line, a defender goes, "Oh, is that, watch that wheel route. Watch that route." And Cam goes, "Oh, you watch film? I watch film too.
Watch this."
And then he goes, "Watch this." And then he scores a touchdown on him because they fake the wheel route. They throw an angle over the middle to, I think, McCaffrey. That's the chess match. I think back to Sunday Night Football in 2021. Remember that game the Titans beat the Rams in when Derrick Henry was hurt? Adrian Peterson scored a touchdown. Remember the pick six that Kevin Byard had in that game?
Yeah.
I remember the conversation around that from Titans defensive coaches the week after was that actually wasn't what he was supposed to be doing. If I remember it correctly, Kevin Byard noticed a tendency and took a chance and said, "I'm going to freelance here because I know what I'm doing and I'm Kevin freaking Byard. And I'm going to go get this ball." And he picked it and he scored. Yep. I think back to training camp this past year. Remember when Cody Barton had a pick on Cam, and he came back afterwards in the post-practice media scrum, and he said, "So I actually wasn't supposed to be doing that, but I recognized where Cam was going because I've seen that play so much in practice." And he was like, "Honestly, this is something that they won't get Cam on as much in games because we practice against this offense every day, but I knew it was coming, and I dropped back on the route, and I wasn't supposed to be there, and so I picked it." And Cam did the right thing reading the defense, but I knew it was coming. That's the value of inside linebacker. I also think the Titans are in a position to need captains and need leaders. I have no issue with trading up for a guy who sounds and talks like Anthony Hill Jr. Because I think if he's talking like that, one weekend being on the Tennessee Titans, I think he's going to talk like that in meeting rooms. And I think he's going to talk like that in the locker room. And yeah, maybe the value of the player and the value of what you gave up, you overpaid a little bit to go up and get him. The Titans aren't just overpaying for football players right now. They're overpaying for foundational cultural pieces. And I used to kind of think a lot of that stuff was overblown until I've kind of talked with you more about it. And the more I talk with people who are professional athletes and people like you who talk about, bad teams and right now in a bad time, you need leaders that can drag you out of it. And Anthony Hill Jr. talks like the kind of guy who's going to help the Titans become a better defense.
Or your old ways don't affect him. That may have been the way it was under the last players that you had, but this doesn't affect me because my mindset a little bit different. And the other part for me too is the voice that you hear people that the players are each and every play. Like you mentioned, motions and the inside linebacker having to set teams up. Hey, D-line shift, move right, like setting the entire setup.
It's the game
up.
within the game.
It is the game within the game. And again, like you said too, or what I'll reiterate what I said earlier. When you got one that knows how to read and see everything that you're doing, it makes you want to get over creative too. And when you do that, you screw yourself up. I, for one, appreciate those guys that know how to play their position and also bring the physicality with it as well. I will agree. There's some people that just got holdovers, just good enough players at those spots. You can find more of those at that position, but I can say the exact same thing about quarterback. I can say the exact same thing about guard. I can say the exact same thing about tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, we're talking about Dan Moore just being good enough at left tackle. Think about how Trent Williams must be to the San Francisco 49ers. Like, imagine what that's also going to feel like when Trent retires eventually.
Right.
There's going to be a hard reset for those types of people. So, Saleh, he appreciates a really good inside linebacker. That's what you have to live with.
And Robert Saleh's had a lot of really good defenses, so I trust his evaluation on that position specifically. Final call for phone calls, 615-737-1045 as we wrap things up. You mentioned a domino that fell in the NBA coaching carousel. There is a report about how that could impact a major college basketball program and a college basketball coach that might be wanted by an NBA team with a new coaching vacancy. Coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, nobody likes dealing with any of those issues. Plumbing, HVAC, or electrical at all. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost you if it'll get fixed right, or if somebody's trying to sell you something you don't need. When you call Hiller, the experts are going to solve your problems quickly. And the price you're told is the price that you'll actually pay. They have no hidden fees or surprises on your bill at all. I've dealt with Hiller. They're very upfront and honest, man. And you're not in business for over 35 years if you're not those things. And they take a little bit more pride in what they do around your house and for you because they're family-owned and operated as well. Their techs, super professional, experienced, and trustworthy. Hiller goes through different hoops and holes just to make sure that these are the folks that you want coming in and out of your home, and they know what they're doing as well. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time. So you're not sitting around wasting your time whatsoever. 100% satisfaction guarantee of happy you'll be, or the service is free. To learn more about Hiller or to book one like I do, simply head over to happyhiller.com.
Wrapping up the show on Ramon and Will. Buck Rising up next with Robert Walsh, of course. Lucas Panzica gallivanting around Portugal. Just living his best life. Must be nice.
Good for him, man.
Absolutely good for him.
Post-draft, getaway. He went overseas with a carry-on, though.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He way more clothes than that.
No.
Or maybe my clothes are just big. Maybe.
I don't know.
think that's what it is.
You probably have more pairs of shoes than he does.
And that's the other part. Which shoes do I take?
Takes up a lot of space.
What if we have a nice dinner night?
If I'm doing a week in Europe, I just need 2 pairs of shoes. I'm good.
Yeah, wow. Hold
a
on.
formal and a comfortable.
Okay, well, what about, hotel slides? You put flip-flops in?
No.
You just use the hotel ones?
Well, not even that. I'll just put on whatever my comfortable shoes are if I'm walking
Hotel
downstairs.
slides?
Yeah, I'm not familiar, but my tax bracket doesn't allow me to have hotel slides. That's crazy.
I should have just let it ride.
I'm proud of you.
No,
though.
keep going. That's
good for
I
you.
should have just let it ride.
See, I'll bring some
That was on
Crocs,
me.
but I don't know about hotel slides.
That was on me. I should have just left it alone.
The Orlando Magic now have an opening for head coach. They dismissed their head coach, Jamal Mosley, this morning. And longtime NBA insider Mark Stein says league sources say the Magic are admirers of Michigan's Dusty May and would have a level of interest if he were indeed available.
He is. He had a conversation last week. He's yet to sign the extension that they gave to him.
That's right.
Good by him. Yeah, he's yet to sign that extension. It's, of course, always going from college to the NBA. Billy Donovan's done it, of course.
Fred Hoiberg from Iowa State, who's now back at Nebraska.
Kind of how
Went
it
to the
goes.
Bulls.
Who was the old Butler coach?
Brad Stevens, the president of basketball for the Celtics.
Yeah, he's out of the coaching seat right now.
And the Lakers tried to get Dan Hurley.
Sure did.
Before they went and got J.J. Redick.
Sure did. I forget about that. Michigan might want to up the pot a little bit more. Look at a little basketball history. You already got Savage standing in the pew. He's proud of you right now. He called me Brother Lee right now.
I love it. I think the interesting thing to me is what happens if somebody calls Todd Golden. Because Steve Kerr's career is kind of hanging in the balance in Golden State. There was another report this morning that ESPN is trying to talk Steve Kerr into doing television.
Yeah, I get it.
Into being a full-time analyst. There have been a lot of reports out there that the Warriors would be interested in Todd Golden's services. Kind of fits their DNA a little bit. I don't know, though. Todd Golden's got a good thing coming back. They've got a squad returning at Florida next season.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of these guys end up leaving. And Mark Stein even notes in his report, he says, the expectation at this point in the college game is that Dusty May will stay at Michigan. But I do think there's enough smoke around those two and Dan Hurley eventually being NBA coaches sooner rather than later.
Man, the way it's been painted to me if you listen to people very successful, like they say, you got to be able to hit a reset on your timeline as many times as you can while leveling up. These college coaches at some point in time are going to run this race of trying to get back, and then there's going to be a new team each and every year that overspends to compete the way you were as well.
Yeah.
He goes to the NBA, he resets his professional clock again.
Tomorrow morning, we'll have VolQuest's Awesome Price with us. The latest on Juke Harris in Tennessee. Chris Lowe dropped a nugget last night at his podcast that expects an announcement very soon. We'll get back into that. We'll hear more from Titans coordinators Brian Daboll with some interesting comments over the weekend. We'll talk about that as we get to your Tuesday morning. Tomorrow, bright and early, 6 a.m.
Cannot believe I said hotel slides. That's terrible. But remember this at all times. Your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.